Hello! Welcome to the Stream of Chaos. We are Chaosium's official live play channel. Here we sort of perceive, investigate, and chase down horrors in Call of Cthulhu. Now, before we begin, given this is our first stream, we'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the country in which we meet today, the Wurundjeri people, and recognise their continuing connection to lands, waters, and culture. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging. So, what Call of Cthulhu is this sort of investigation horror game that's going to focus a lot on the history of the period. We're playing in 1930s New York, and then follow us as we begin to delve into madness and chaos as we journey throughout the globe in A Cold Fire Within, which is this new campaign, very mind-altering, mind-bending, and really weird. It's by Christmas Smith O'Dare, and you can pick it up on the Chaosium site, and I really encourage you to check it out. This should hopefully give you a bit of insight into what it might be like to play this, and maybe you can pick up some ideas. So, we'll jump in soon, but before we do, let's meet all of our cast. So, James, why don't you start us off?
Fantastic. I'm James. I'm a writer from Melbourne, and I work with Chaosium, which has brought me here. I'm going to be playing José Castillo, who is the bodyguard of this person over here.
Hey, I'm Jackson. Which one's my camera? I think it's that one.
Yeah, that one there.
Hey, I'm Jackson. I'm a role player. I'm a roleplay night event host, and I'm on the team at Campaign Coins. We make real metal accessories for role-playing games, war games, and I'm playing William Van der Ven, one of the wealthiest residents of New York, and something of a fashionista socialite. It's going to be a good time.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I am a streamer and engineer here in Melbourne, and I am playing Edie Cheong, who is a mechanic by day and a bit of a weird scientist by night.
I'm Daniel Richards. I am a bartender by night and an RPG and amateur actor by day. I'll be playing Detective Nick DeMartino, who is a detective with the NYPD.
Awesome. And I'm Dave Naylor. I stream some stuff and I write some stuff, but most importantly, here on this stream, I am the Keeper of Arcane Lore. That means I get to read the book, I get to throw horrible creatures at these players, and I get to decide when we start. So, let's jump right in. It is in May, heading towards summer in New York in the year 1935. Now, our four investigators are members of this sort of occult society named Atlas. And currently, on this Wednesday evening, you are meeting for one of your, I think, sort of like bi-yearly events. You have these large get-togethers, which are a chance for everyone within the society to trade rumors, share updates, catch up on your day-to-day lives, and possibly chase down something a little bit strange. Now, your meeting place, your kind of clubhouse, is a little bit non-standard. You guys meet on this old Russian ice-breaking exploration vessel. Now, quite some time ago, this was the state-of-the-art technology, and when it was purchased in the late 19th century, it was really something to see. But these days, it's a bit worse for wear, I think. It's begun to sink a little bit in the dock where it is never leaving near Manhattan, and it's only barely kept afloat by a series of large, basically inflatable barges pushed along the side that keep it out of the water and at least slow its sinking long enough that people can patch from the inside and make sure it doesn't land on the bottom. Now, in the inside, it's a lot nicer. In fact, there's one room which is really quite spectacular. It is a fairly immense, hollowed-out section of the boat, through the center of which runs a large aquarium. It's been filled with water, and populated inside it are all manner of different fish, which have been pulled from different sections of the globe and all pushed in there. They haven't given much thought to making sure that the sort of salt solution is correct or anything, but those that survive are probably deserving to be there. There's also dotted inside a little bit of a strange sight. There's a couple of sort of chairs and tables, as if this place on the inside of the aquarium was made to host people as well. But on the outside, there's a couple of trays of food and things, and currently there's about, I'd say, 20 to 30 people walking around, mingling, and catching up. So, as we see each of our characters for the first time, can you give a description of what you look like and where you are as you're talking to people? Are you mingling with someone? Are you standing to the side, keeping yourself a little bit distant from the events? Who wants to start?
I'll start?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Jose is a short, kind of dirty, stockier man. He has a very intense gaze, and he's sort of off to the side, eyes darting around at all times. He's a bodyguard, so he needs to remain particularly alert. He wears a worn suit, which is a little bit too big for him, but he seems very comfortable in it.
Perfect. And you're a bodyguard of this gentleman here, Mr. Van der Ven. So you're, I presume, close by?
Well, I always got to be keeping an eye on Mr. Van der Ven. It's very important that I keep him safe at all times. So I don't like to let him out of my sight, but he can be a little difficult sometimes.
All right. How about yourself?
Hi. So William Van der Ven is somewhat roundish-faced man in his mid-30s, somewhat roundish from a lifetime of full nutrition. He is one of the wealthiest members of New York City because he is one of the heirs to the enormous Van der Ven shipping conglomerate. And he's here, he's mingling. He joined up Atlas because occultism is the new hot thing. So he can be seen chatting up any of the variety of politicians and actors and well-to-do members of New York society that will.
You're sort of getting your name out there and making sure people are aware that you're here and you're mingling.
For sure.
Have you had any success so far tonight?
As soon as the discussion turns to business, I just kind of like hand him the card of my accountant to my lawyer and go, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Talk to this guy. He'll
You'll
sort
let
you
someone
out."
else deal with it?
Yeah,
perfect.
Because William does not have a head for business. He's second in line to inheriting the company, so he just wants to have a good time.
But if you were the one that technically brought them in at the ground floor, then that's just
Yeah.
credit to your name, right? And
Exactly
hey, a little
right.
bit of an extra in the allowance,
worth
maybe.
a little bonus, yeah.
That's right. Nick, how about you next?
So, Detective Nick DeMartino. I'm a detective with the New York Police Department. I look into some of New York's strangest cases. They often end up on my desk. People getting murdered inside locked rooms, pentagrams, stuff that just doesn't add up, you know, stuff that's a bit strange. I found this organization a while back. It's always good for leads and things like that. They usually know what's going on in the city in terms of, the stranger stuff, the little bit of occult stuff. So I like to keep my head to the ground, I like to keep my ears out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the people here are at least more willing to discuss some of the strange things that might go on in New York. Oftentimes you find that they don't have it all right. They won't get the exact, the finer details of what might have gone on, and they might be completely off base, but you're able to use them as something of a barometer. When something weird's going on, enough people will note it and have outlandish theories that you're able to sort of be like, all right, maybe that gets escalated, maybe that case comes out of storage and I actually do begin to pursue it, see what's happening there.
Yeah, and to describe Nick a little bit, he looks... Well, firstly, he wears gloves all the time, especially conspicuous in this sort of going into the hotter days of the year. Why would he be wearing gloves? It's a bit of a strange one, but, he passes it over. He's Italian-American. He's got a thick mustache and thick black hair, and the haunted look of someone who's dealt with a lot of cases in their time, He's had to see a lot on the underbelly of not only New York, but also some of the strangest stuff that goes on.
Yeah, and I mean, it can kind of throw anyone for a loop, and those that are really thrown into the center of it, like New York's police department, can come out of it a little worse for wear. Nick's doing all right so far, and we'll see how long it lasts. Now, Edie, are you in this event, or are you elsewhere on the ship, making sure it doesn't descend overnight?
Look, I reckon I am definitely, I don't want to call it downstairs. I don't know anything about ships.
There's stairs you go down, and that
Underneath.
counts, I think.
I reckon I am starting the night in the engine room.
Yep.
That, well, it wouldn't be on.
No, so this is an old, this is a coal-powered vessel, so it does have a screw propeller at the back,
That's right,
but
yeah.
what they use it for is for heating. Now, we are in
Yes.
summer at the moment, so it's less necessary, but you might be checking to see if any water's moving through the pipes or anything. It's a good
Yeah.
place to start, and it's also the most dangerous chunk of it, so it's good to make sure it's not going to sort of, go up in smoke or something during the festivities.
Yeah, well, I mean, God knows I'm the only one that checks on this kind of
Yeah.
thing. So, well, Edie is probably one of the more underdressed people at this event. She is in overalls and a work shirt and some steel-tipped boots, I would imagine, for safety. Probably a bit of grease on the face, messy hair, that kind of thing. And yeah, I think she is starting the evening down checking on the pipes, but after this, she has a number of regular clients who I think she'll be meeting up with a bit later on to discuss some cool gadgets, some materials they may have found, but generally just kind of sticking with them, not really mingling terribly much. It's not really her thing.
Yeah, so where William sees this as an opportunity to mingle and possibly make connections, Jose is largely there to make sure the mingling doesn't go wrong. Nick's keeping an ear to the ground to see if anything strange is going on. Your tie is mainly actually sourcing direct contract work because you build weird gadgets, things that aren't necessarily possible, but in this sort of slightly odd or altered Earth, your technological ability allows you to create some quite odd gadgets.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
we make them possible.
Yeah, that's right, sorry. So where we start, when you're down in this hold, moving through the pipes, checking everything, there's water rushing back and forth, but all the different sort of plugs you put in previously seem to be holding for the moment, and eventually return and begin to head up, spiraling up the stairs towards the meeting room where this event's taking place. As you get to the entrance, there is a large bouncer, for lack of a better word. It's a gentleman, part of the society, a heavy-faced man who just calls himself Rick, and he is there to prevent people from getting in if they either don't have an invite or they haven't paid their dues recently. As a club, your dues are all brought in together, and they're what actually finance these events, what allow people to get together and mingle. Currently, a woman who you recognize as called Melody Sterling is standing in front of the door, and the man is not letting her in. Whether she's a friend or not, I guess is up to you, but she is a member of this society of Atlas. She and her husband have been here for quite some time. They share some of your interest in the eldritch, in the weird, and they've probably just been socially friendly with you in the past if they haven't had any major breakthroughs themselves. So as you get further forward, Melody is standing in front of Rick, and she's saying, look, I'm sorry, but I just don't have any money at the moment, but I'm urgent. I must get in. I just want to ask a few questions. And she's clutching a rolled up photograph in her hands as you head up towards the side. You've already paid your way and you're able to go straight past if you wish. But she's not being let in at the moment.
So I'm just gonna walk up to Rick and, hey Rick, how's it hanging? What's the matter here?
Look, you know that everyone's got to pay to get in, and we've got to put the food on the table, and this delicious spread that we've got supplied for all of you this evening isn't available to hangers-on, and he noses towards the woman. Melody, seeing you, says, Edie, please, I only want to get in and ask a few questions. And Rick stoically stands in the doorway, if I'm not getting in, would you ask around? She passes over a photograph which is of her husband, Brendan, and she says, I don't know what to do. He's been missing for several days. I thought someone inside might have heard something. You yourself haven't, and you, to the Sterling's credit, normally they're fairly put together. They're also fairly well off as well, so not paying the dues is a bit of a red flag. What I'll do now is I'm going to pass you a couple of dandy outs. This... Daniel. The top one is Ms. Sterling, and the lower one is a picture of Brendan, which she's handing out and trying to get someone to pay attention to.
So we've got Brendan, and we've got Ms. So we've got Brendan Sterling and Melody Sterling.
That's right.
Okay.
Melody.
Like a song.
Correct, Mundo. So she's passed you this portrait and sort of pushed in your hands. Melody herself is a very well kept together woman, although you can see the bun that she normally keeps her hair in is beginning to fray a little bit and some of the loose hair sticking out. She looks a little bit unkempt, I guess, especially for such a formal affair. And the photo of her husband, which she shares with you, is a very young, quite proper gentleman with a bit of an air of dashing, the kind of person that might go towards danger than away from it. Although that's not uncommon in your club, or I guess occupations.
What was his name again, sorry?
Brendan Sterling. And I put names on the back of those pictures as well if you need it.
Get at it.
Yeah, look at me.
Lovely work.
Just in case we forget, which we will.
I did. I did forget.
Yeah, you did.
All right. So she's not asking you to pay your rent or anything, but she wants you to hand this around. What are you saying at the moment?
How long has he been missing again?
Not long. And she checks a small pocket watch. It's Wednesday now. Last I heard, and she steps away from Rick and to allow anyone else that wants to go through. And so she doesn't want to get in the way of people. She doesn't want to be a problem.
Yeah,
she steps away, but she's eager to talk to you now. She says, "Last I heard, it was on Thursday night. I went to bed late. He came in and he said something about going on a camping trip with his friends. I didn't question it. I was exhausted. The weekend passed, and when Monday came, no word from him. On Tuesday, I began to get a little bit nervous. I called the police, and they just said he's probably away with his friends, and he'll come back soon. And they assured me they were on it, but they also they asked if there was another woman or something. I mean, of course there isn't, but a little concerned, I admit. And then I went to the bank, and she's clearly embarrassed, and she's not really. I went to the bank and well,
right. Okay, so he's been missing for nearly a week now.
Yes,
ma'am. Okay, I mean I can pass his photo around.
Yes, thank you.
Was
Please.
he a regular here as well? I'm
Yes,
sorry,
you'd probably.
Would I know him?
Actually, you're a little bit separate from anything.
Yeah.
You would. Brendan and Melody have been at these events for quite some time. They are regulars, but they probably haven't had the funds or the gear to commission you directly. You've probably only talked to them socially, not in a professional role.
No, I've seen
but you'd be aware of both of them.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
right. She's, look, thank you so much. I have other copies if you could ask around. And please, I just want to know what's happened.
All right, I can ask around. I can't promise anything.
Of course, that's fine.
Have you been to the police?
Yes,
we've got our in-house, Nick.
I was going to speak to Mr. DeMartino, but and she gestures towards the door. Yes, I've been to the police. They wouldn't take things seriously. I think something odd may have happened. You and I were both aware that there's more to this world than is often seen. I don't know. Listen, I'm going to go upstairs and take a minute. And she pulls out a small silver cigarette case. If you have any more questions, or if you hear anything, please find me out there. I'll wait until the event's over, and then she seems a little lost, and then I guess I'll go home.
All right, I will ask around, and I'll come let you know if we hear anything.
Thank you.
Right.
She begins to walk away, and she casts her eyes back a couple of times, looking inside and sort of seeing if anyone's looking like they're about to leave. They don't appear to, and Rick seems to just be completely walling off the door and refusing any access. And then she pulls on a coat again. It was a nice coat once, that sort of fur style, but we're in the Depression currently, and people can't really let things go just because they're out of fashion. So this one's getting towards the end of its lifespan, but she's continuing to wear it. She pulls that on and heads upstairs out into the sort of muggier, higher levels of the ship. Mm-hmm. Right? Rick steps aside. You've already paid your entrance, and you're able to join the event.
I mean, I reckon I'm gonna search for Nick, because
Yeah.
I mean, you're a man of the law. You'd know what to do in this kind of thing. So yeah,
You'd expect.
Yeah.
Brave. Nick's posted up towards one of the sides, leaning against against one of the beams. They prefer you. Actually, no. Sorry. What am I talking about? 930s. Yeah. There's a haze of smoke across. I was like, there's a grate or something. No. There's a haze of smoke that fills the whole
area
area.
and a non-smoking area. No.
The non-smoking area is just a square on the ground. So go away. So Nick's leaning up against one of the sides, working his way through a packet of cigarettes.
Hey Nick, how's it hanging?
Hey Edie, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How's the job that you do?
Yeah, got a few open cases, but that's good for business, I guess. Well, I probably shouldn't say that, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Well, I got something potentially new for you. You know Miss Melody Sterling.
Yeah, Miss Sterling. Miss Sterling. She's a swell lady.
Yeah, she seems totally fine. Well, anyway, she couldn't get in. She couldn't pay, which is kind of weird because her get up, like she looks like she can pay. Anyway, it's not important.
Yeah,
Apparently,
she's normally she and her husband there. They're
her
well
husband, Brendan.
The system works.
The system works,
Like
is what
this,
I'm saying.
David.
I'm glad I wrote the names down.
My good friend, Brendan's.
Who I've known for 7 years.
She hasn't seen him since last Thursday.
He's been missing since last Thursday.
Yeah, he said he was going on a camping trip,
Alright.
and then maybe he ran off with another lady. I'm not gonna Okay, I'm not gonna. You didn't hear me say that off the record. My point is, she's.
I don't know what record you're talking about, but yeah, sure. Yeah,
You're not
that's
like wired or anything regularly as part of your job, like you know.
no.
I don't think we have that
I
technology.
don't think. Yeah, I
Or
don't,
is that not a thing that you
yeah, I think that's something you are inventing, but I like the idea of this wire. How does it work? Probably won't get into that at the moment,
tiny,
but
anyway.
Make a whole show.
so he's missing, eh?
Well, I mean, I assume that's just like what she said, but she's asked us to pass his photo around, see if anyone's seen him.
So it's last Thursday, so it's almost been a week.
Yeah, close to it's Wednesday now.
Yeah, that's unusual, especially for, a settled type like them. They
Were they? So you said they were like regulars in the sense that they would come to every one of these events.
I mean, they're only you have smaller events every now and then. They'd miss one on occasion, but yeah,
okay.
they'd be at all of the big ones. They probably are socially friendly with some of you. I mean, it's not out of the question that you just catch up with some of these people from time to time if these are your friends. Yeah, no, they're pretty regular.
Okay.
Yeah, I talked to Brendan a few times. He's a good guy. Yeah. Well, if she's real worried about him, we should look into it.
Do we know what Brendan does as an occupation?
Yeah, look, yes, definitely. He's a dentist.
Okay, that is a very rugged-looking dentist.
Yeah, that's
like,
a cool dentist.
There is a hot
Hey,
dentist.
Indiana Jones allowed to be a sexy professor. Brendan Sterling can be a sexy dentist.
Chiseled jaw, you've got the teeth for it.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah.
yeah.
It's amazing teeth.
And his position as a dentist has let him actually keep funds throughout the Depression because people need dentists. Basically, it's something that's always going to see a bit of money, and they've weathered this reasonably well because of it. There we go.
Brendan used to hang out. Like he's with the rich folk quite a bit. We should
Maybe we should talk to
yeah.
what's that Vander boy? What's his name?
Yeah.
Vandervan?
Yeah, Vandervan.
Vander Car?
Vander something. Yeah.
I think your ears are burning a little bit, but Jose, you immediately, when you hear the name Vandervan, you know someone's looking for your bus.
And we're not exactly looking unsuspicious.
No, you're not.
either.
Yeah.
We're kind of huddled over a photograph in the corner, and
Yeah,
we
that's
just say, and one of us goes, Vandervan.
and then points the photo, points at him. You recognize these two, and you've again had casual conversation, but yeah, you see them beginning to make their way through this very spaced out and sort of fairly low crowd towards Mr. Vandervan, who is currently, you're wrapping up a discussion with one of the other patrons who's got his sort of clammy hand on you and is earnestly explaining the benefits of transatlantic shipping.
I'm explaining or he's explaining?
I guess, do you have a handle on transatlantic shipping?
Look, I've dabbled.
That's probably you then.
Well, I'm completely torn. I've got two people coming towards Mr. Vandervan, but someone has just laid a hand on Mr. Vandervan, both of which are disastrous situations. I think I'll head straight towards Mr. Vandervan, hoping to intercept and also make sure to remove the clammy, interfering hand as quickly as possible.
Yeah, the little guy's got he's got a bit of a grip on you, and he's leaning in and he's trying to get the exact details on when your next shipment's going to be coming in. And as he speaks, his mouth is just rancid with sort of ash and smoke, and he points to you and he goes,
So, if you get things in here nearby, you let me know, huh? I got warehouses all up and down Manhattan. We can hold stuff for you, and then we got large vans. They'll move them to anywhere in the country that you need them, and we're cheap, huh? And sure, we lost a couple recently, but look, any income you can send through us would really get us back on our feet again.
Well, thank you very much for your interest. You say you lost some warehouses. How does that happen?
Not the warehouses so much as the trucks moving from them. A couple of people got lost or something, went down some back roads, and, the product was gone. But hey, normally we're pretty good for it. We got look, we're above half track record. It's going well.
Well, if I can have your card, I'll pass it on to the director of logistics. No problem.
yeah, of course. He pulls out a deck of cards and sort of cycles it. Sorry, no. I meant a normal business cards. You're right. That would have been funnier. A deck of business cards. Cycles through them and finds one. There. Anytime you need me. Reynolds on the card, and you can drop by any of our shipments. I'll make sure you get seen.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. He turns around to find Jose. Do you tower above people, or?
I'm kind of the same height at them. I think people find my gaze somewhat disconcerting. So I tend to head close and I tend to look very seriously right into their face.
Yeah. He
And
sort of
that's usually gets rid of them.
he turns around to see you and sort of
Hey, thanks again for your time.
and he begins to step away. And as he does, the other two move forward.
That was 12 seconds, Castillo. 12 seconds
Just
of a
quickly.
handshake I didn't want. Now,
Gotta-
those are rookie numbers, and you gotta get those up.
I'm very sorry, sir.
That's alright.
Sorry, Rachel.
Vandervan kind of sucks.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Why are we talking to this guy again? Oh, he,
He
has
knows-
money.
he knows-
Yeah, no, he has money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wish I had more of that. We've got a bit of an audio hum, apparently. I think
rats.
it may be coming from your mic.
Okay, I can load the gain a bit. Let's try this. Alright.
Hi.
Take two. Thank you for pointing it out. Jim.
Hey, Vandervan. How you doing?
I'll position myself in between the incomers and the my good friend
And
Vandervan.
yeah, you slide in between and you find Jose.
It's detective, right?
Yeah, Nick DeMartino. I at your service. How you doing, Vandervan?
Detective, always a pleasure. And
Alright.
Miss,
You just call me Edie.
do we know each other?
Yeah,
Have we
I-
seen around?
I've
You
never
all
seen
know,
it,
you've
yeah.
all had
Yeah, right.
conversations,
Yeah,
you're aware of one another. This is not a large enough club to pretend to not know people.
Right. Yeah, of course.
You're Wilhelm,
Okay. well,
William,
Mr. Vanderven is
Mr.
fine.
Vandervan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Look, we recently came across some information.
Oh,
Apparently,
hot goss?
maybe a friend of yours has gone missing. You might know something about it.
Well, do tell.
How's your relationship with Mr. Brendan Sterling?
Not Brandon. Oh, that cheeky devil. I knew he'd up and fly the coop one of these days. Where is he gone?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, have you
You
seen
know
his
where
wife?
he's going?
No, but it was a ticking time bomb. Everyone knew it.
What are you insinuating? They weren't in love with each other?
I insinuate nothing, only imply.
Okay.
Those words mean the same.
Non-binding implications.
Thank you.
Look, all
You
of-
can get the contract from my lawyer. It's airtight.
Is he a lawyer?
No.
your bodyguard Jose. Moonlight.
it looks like
as
it's about
your lawyer.
19.
You did sign that for me once. Oh, I'm not supposed to talk about it. That's fine.
If Mr. Vandervan needs a lawyer, I can procure one for him at a moment's notice.
Look, gay, nobody needs a lawyer here. We're all on the same side. We're all looking for Brendan, right?
Right. Yeah. What happened?
Well, you know, Miss Melody Sterling, those two are frequent visitors of this club. She couldn't get in. She couldn't pay or she didn't maybe want to pay the upkeep fee or whatever. She says that Brendan is missing. She hasn't seen him since last Thursday. He said he was going camping and then didn't come back. So
The plot thickens.
yeah, she reckons that it is something. You know, she says there might be something more to it than your average man runs off with his secretary, dental assistant.
Yep.
If I may, sir, so you said she's been missing since last Thursday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday today, so it's been
6 days.
6 days.
And there's already financial trouble. She already can't pay dues.
Well, I don't know if she couldn't pay or she just didn't want to spend the money. But she asked us to pass his lovely photo around. As you can see, he is actually quite a weirdly attractive looking dentist.
I don't know. He's got a bit of like
He
cheek on
does
him.
look a bit
He's a bit-
1,000 yards
he's a
down.
bit of some jowls going on.
Oh, not quite as attractive as you, Mr. Vandervan,
Oh,
of course.
Very particular.
Duh.
Jose, yeah, I tracked that as well, Jose. I agree with you. It's weird that such a well-off pair wouldn't be able to pay their dues.
And she did look stressed. Like she looked. I mean, admittedly, her husband is missing, but she looked put out of sorts.
You know, I always said the dentistry industry is going on down. You know, pretty soon they're all just gonna pull them straight out and get some new ones put in. I don't see what the problem is. Maybe he went to find a new line of work.
Yeah, but he'd let his wife know for sure. Look, I got away with these things, and someone here says something's wrong. You know, this doesn't seem right.
If you behaved in this way, sir, I'd be very, very concerned.
No. Thank you, Castillo.
So.
You can get paid this week.
How generous of you.
William, could you make a psychology check for me? Because you do kind of run this. So this is. What was your read on both Melody and her husband?
I suspect
You're
he's...
giving me the first roll of the campaign.
Yeah. Well, you
Keeping in
famously
mind.
the final role of the last campaign was
Oh,
Jackson
yeah.
fumbling and killing all of us and
Wow.
starting World War II, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I tell you what,
Directly
just
responsible.
slightly better than that would be great. Anything but a fumble is a win.
do you want to roll on the...
I would love to. I'd like to roll on
Yeah,
the
that's fine. That's fine.
Oh,
That's fine.
Cthulhu signed
Do
dice
you
tray
want me to
from
chuck
Campaign
these
Coin.
photos?
Yeah, go for it. Yep,
Yeah, okay.
thank you.
I really don't want to do this.
What's your psychology skill as well?
Oh, that's a great question. It's not great. It's it's great. It's 60.
So just before you roll, sort of, wait, this works. Wow, cool, hot dog. Is everyone's skills are super easy to read. For example, Jackson, as William, has 60 in his psychology. That means when he rolls these two dice, a D100, if he rolls under the 60, it's a success. Things are harder, they can go down and be manipulated from there, but basically, 60% chance of succeeding. So go ahead and roll.
I'd like to roll as low as possible.
Yes.
Low is good.
Please.
I see. Is that 80?
You
That's
rolled
an 87,
Yeah.
which
Alright.
could be worse.
It could be
but
worse.
it is a failure in this case. My psychology is a mere 60.
That's right. So, unfortunately, look, you've talked to him before, but you found him to be fairly boring for the most part. He's just not really the same kind of guy that really grabs you, and he never really had anything to offer you as far as sort of potential campaigns or anything. You don't have a read on him. Now, you can push that roll if you'd like. That would be you probably, what would it be? Actually, since it's retroactive remembering, this would have been a time you really put your foot in your mouth while talking to him. You were wondering how he and his wife got on. I think you would have directly said to him, "Hey, you ever thought about seeing other women?" Something like that.
I'll
So
take it.
possibly you are really
Heavily
trying to
implying
I would
Yeah.
love
that
that.
his
So
wife
go ahead
is
and
not...
reroll both of those dice and take the lower.
That's more like it. A 35.
Okay, well done.
That's a
All right.
success one.
Okay, no, that's really good. So you kind of make a suggestion, and unfortunately, fortunately, he takes it as a joke. He pushes it back and he says, "No, I would never. I love Melody. No, and you are aware that they are pretty tight knit. The thought that he would have run off with someone else is fairly unlikely.
Okay. But I say that anyway
Of
because
course, yeah,
it's a rumor.
that's fine.
Yeah.
You can power ahead as needed. But yeah.
Oh no, but just before I said to these guys because
Yeah.
it's guards.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
nice.
no.
Is that
Nice.
nice and clear? Is that?
Yeah, that's
Can you
really-
see that says missing? Because he's missing.
Yeah, think
I
it's
love
fine.
it.
All right.
Alright, well, look, first call of investigation, household, we've got to talk to the wife, we've got to investigate his last known location, check into any contacts, any issues he may have had with business associates, things like that. All generic stuff. Well, I've appreciated your help so far, but I'll be handling this from
No, not at all. We're dear friends of Brandon, and I couldn't bear it if anything were to happen to him.
I'm going to keep an eye out for the mad twinkle in my employer's eye that he sometimes gets when he's found a new hobby to fixate on and lead
One
into
And
it.
his current hobby is your job.
Yeah, and I'm just saying. Look, it's not necessary. I can handle this.
Mr. Van der Van will be a great asset to any investigation. He's a man of some means.
I have trouble believing that.
No, remember he has monetary assets.
See where you're going with this, Edie. I like the way you think.
Yeah, see, are you particularly, what's your credit rating?
Yeah, I have got.
Or the equivalent
I got like
substance to the
$60
normal-
to my name.
Okay, cool.
In
I
general.
I think I have maybe 65.
Yeah.
So I think maybe.
Well, if we pulled that, it might equal like half of what you have.
And Mr. Van der Van, which of the cars would you like me to bring around for you this evening?
Oh, let me have the red one.
Which red one?
The shiny red one.
Very good.
It would be good to have a car as well. Do you have a car? I don't have a car.
I mean, I probably do. I mean, I'm a mechanic.
You're a mechanic, yeah, actually, yeah.
But it's probably a real bomb.
It's like a beta
Look,
that you're just
um,
keeping alive.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, in this circumstance, because this isn't, and I use an official investigation, it wouldn't be ridiculous to have you along. Plus, I think Jose's got a good head on him. I think that kid's probably actually... Mr. Van der Van, I'm sure has his uses.
That's amazing. You're flipping between talking to us and
Yeah, I know, I'm directly looking at you. I'm saying. Yeah, I probably shouldn't do that. Alright.
You're whispering directly into our microphone. Why? Can I quickly ask, what are your archetypes?
Oh, I'm a bon vivant.
You're what?
A bon vivant.
Okay.
That's French.
That's Spanish.
It means good liver. As in not a
that
good
true?
liver. As in
Drink a lot.
bon vivant means good, like an enjoyer of life. It literally means bon is good and vivant is alive.
But it probably helps to have a good liver.
Oh, yeah,
if you are a
absolutely
good
does.
liver.
Otherwise, you will be a bon no longer vivant. And I'm a steadfast bodyguard.
For those keeping track, I am a mystic detective, which I love.
Which is the subtitle of a podcast.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I was like, every
Mystic
Tuesdays at
Detective.
7 p.m.
Mystic detective.
And I am a grease monkey mechanic.
Yeah.
From
For those
Texas.
wondering, Pulp Cthulhu has certain archetypes that you can play into. It adds like an Indiana Jones sort of element to it.
And you get skills out of it.
Yeah,
so
you get some
must
skills and you
bonus
get
skills.
cool archetypes for your characters so that you guys don't cross over and stuff. You just play.
And Pop Cthulhu, just double those hit points. We're gonna live forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mine doubled to 13, which,
Hey.
for those who don't know, is a regular Cthulhu amount.
Wait, were we meant to double it?
No, you did
we
double.
already did.
It's you take a fifth.
That's why yours is
whereas
20.
In normal Cthulhu,
Right.
it's a 10th. You guys all took it. I checked it wrong. So you guys all good.
Alright.
Alright. So really quickly, how have you taken then alternating between sort of talking at you and talking to one another?
I don't think I hear them.
Oh, you
Yeah.
Otherwise,
As soon as I'm not talking and they're not looking at me, I'm
Can we
already thinking
imagine that
about.
it's like?
You're next.
You're
to
just
the,
waiting for your next turn to
refreshments.
speak.
Yeah.
Can we imagine it's like a film noir thing where like we talk to them and then we both separately walk towards the camera and like dark music plays and we're like, oh, that Van kind of seems like a dick.
turns to one of you, and I always knew that this was going to go wrong. You're outside in the rain for some reason, and you come back in completely dry and re-enter the conversation. Yeah, exactly. It was summer, and the light was rain.
While we're here, though, anyone else who might be close to the Sterlings, who knows them who knows them better than like you?
You guys are probably some of the
No
more
one knows them
regular,
better than me.
yeah, some of the more regular ones. There are those that you could talk to, just the general sort of people in
No
this
one
area.
stands out as someone who they might
The
have
only
been.
other person probably of significance is about to take the stage, actually, and that is the one surviving founder of the society, and he's here to celebrate the 80th birthday of the other founder who couldn't be here tonight. And he's about to make a short speech, and he's beginning to move his way up. He is a old gentleman to the point of looking decrepit. His skin is sort of almost like going to become more transparent. His cheekbones show quite visibly. He has a sort of deep mustache that goes down past his chin and wobbles slightly, and he's moving himself up towards a slightly raised platform painstakingly slowly, and most of this conversation has taken place as you watch him cross from the doors toward the stage, and then you're like, alright, we should probably wrap up in a minute, so you have a moment or two to talk.
Yeah, he's at the stairs. We got another 15
Yeah,
minutes.
exactly.
What was his name?
His name is Lincoln Crane.
Lincoln Crane.
It's a
I'm
good
loving
name.
these
In
bulky
the
names.
1930s.
Yes.
Now, if I may ask a quick question as well.
You may.
Brendan, as a member, members often have things that they're focusing on, that they're particularly interested in this organization.
Yeah, good call.
I tend to stand around, listen to things. Would I happen to have overheard what Brendan's been looking into these last few days, weeks, months?
James, you son of a gun, what a clever idea. You go ahead and make a listen check. This is also retroactively. This is, what have you heard the mumblings of, the newsins and the so on and so forth.
How would you like to do this? Would you like me to?
Why don't you roll it for me? So we
no,
can.
I wouldn't dare.
Okay, well, I'll roll it then.
You roll it and I'll just show it off to the camera. How did you
Sounds
go?
excellent.
I would call that a.
Oh, it's a 0-1.
A crit?
Wow.
Well,
Well, that should have started the campaign.
I think I may have overheard something.
Oh,
I
okay,
only need that
yeah.
2 dice rolls ago.
he overheard where Brendan is.
Alright.
Alright.
Okay, so yeah, nice. Okay, well, let's do that then. So
Turns out
you,
he really
you
is
get
camping.
2 major things. You get a few, actually. That's really good. And he wasn't super private about some of them. So, Brendan is super excited recently because he's been put in contact with a gentleman named Ferdinand Argus,
Ooh.
who believes that he understands past life regression and has the ability to send someone's mind back down the generations towards one of their ancestors, so they can actually see how they lived, and so their ancestor can see through their own eyes. Now that's particularly exciting because you guys and your society is all about Atlantean lineage, and Brendan actually believed that this could be concrete proof that I am Atlantean, that this is actually real, and hey, this is progress. He was very excited at the time. His wife Melody was less so. She had gone to a meeting or two and said, look, I don't believe that this man's genuine, but Brendan was really sinking his teeth into it. The second thing you notice, which is more concerning, is he also mentioned, because he was talking to someone else there, that he's been getting in, or is actually at the point he was considering it, he was thinking about getting to know a group called the League of Forgotten Men. Now, what this group is a fascist organization.
okay.
I was trying to think of a way to phrase that differently.
No,
They're a
just-
fascist organization. They have very strong beliefs. And in the 1935s, as it is beginning to grow and escalate, this is an area that believes that New York has a particular way to go in the future, and they are there to stem the tide of those that would come in and change good American values. Now, Brendan himself, as you knew, wasn't necessarily one of these, wouldn't normally associate with them, but if they had funding, if they could possibly get him in meetings with the right people, he might have thought that this was a place to begin. That was probably the one that made you go, that's concerning. The other one was, that's interesting. So you have that information.
Okay. Before I mention anything, does my employer have any dealings with either Argus, I assume not, or the League of Forgotten Men?
No, I don't think you would. They are around. They're not super big. They're not a prevalent chapter or group, I guess. It's unlikely, unless you were running those circles, which I don't think you do.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I'll share that information with the others at an appropriate moment, but I believe a speech is about to begin.
That's right. So, the gentleman continues pulling himself up onto the stage, and one of the younger members of your society has helped him up and seats him down on the ground, where he begins to talk quietly and almost, very difficult to hear before a microphone is sort of pulled in front of him, amplified so that it will fill the room, and crackling static emanates from these sort of large speakers in different areas before the hiss is dialed in, and you can hear a very faint voice. The man begins to talk, and he says, "It is with deep regret that I am here today, when my friend Oscar Folger could not be on this, which would have been his 80th birthday. If he could see this now." And he looks out at everyone here and he says, "He'd be so disappointed." And there's a sort of a pause, and then he looks and he goes, "Look at you. You pay your dues. You come here and you feast. Well, I get it. These are rough times. I hope you eat your fill. But we have forgotten why we are here. We were looking, searching for Atlantis and those survivors that could still be out there. You've all forgotten why you originally joined. What me and what Oscar sacrificed so much to do now as this boat sinks. Forget it. I'll be dead soon. I hope we're deaf and blind in heaven." And he begins to be cut off. As you can see, the guy who did not know this was how it's going to go is up at the microphone. He's like, "And thank you, Lincoln. Wow.
For he's a jolly good fellow.
Wait, it's not his birthday.
Oh. Oscars, but that's about par with how much William would be paying attention to her birthday.
Oh, I forgot my party hat.
He goes, "Thank you, Lincoln, and many more. All right, well, everyone, the buffets are open as much as you want to eat. Feel free to socialize, but we'll be wrapping up soon, and we'll see everyone in a couple months for the next big event. Thank you again. Thank you." And he begins to usher the old bloke back off the stage. Speaking of which, Mr. Richards, if you could share. That is.
That's a
Oh, yeah,
mustache.
second one's all over there.
Okay,
That's
these
a
gloves are not practical.
There's Lincoln.
Oh boy, look at that. He looks mad. Okay,
He's
that,
old.
that does cover it.
He's not for walrus.
Yeah. Still getting used to this new setup. I still want to get too much. Oh, this is a map? What do we
Yes,
want this
a map.
for?
Map of New York.
Map of New York.
Places to go.
In case people don't know what New York's like. Which,
I live there.
a lot of people don't.
I can see my house from here.
Hey, yeah,
Not
where this boat is docked is on the western side. in like I'm really bad at cardinals. I can do north and south real quick,
Yep.
like that. East and west, it takes me a moment.
Yeah, no one knows east and west.
Yeah,
You gotta
I
go
mean,
north, east, west.
Yeah, that's how I get.
Yeah, you look for the sunrise. If it's rising, you know it's south. And then.
That's right. And then you go, shit, hang on.
If the sun's up, it is daytime.
So yeah, you guys are on the west in one of these old docks. It's basically purchased by Atlas, and the boat is allowed to just stay there for as long as it wants. It never leaves.
So on the Jersey side.
That's right.
You buried the lead here. What's the name of the boat?
What would be the name of the boat?
Oh.
I'll boot that lead right back to you.
Lady Macbeth.
Yeah. Hell yeah, the Lady Macbeth. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, the Lady Macbeth.
That's not ominous or.
No.
Oh, it's definitely on.
Yep, perfect. All right, so the Lady Macbeth. The meeting you're at is beginning to wrap up now. People are beginning to slowly sort of either pull themselves into more private conversations as they go like, hey, actually, that thing you mentioned, let's talk about that seriously, or just slowly drift away, or a couple of them who have gone over to the buffet and seeing that there's going to be excess food are just loading up like containers to take home because, hey, you know.
Nice.
I am doing that.
The
You're doing
19th.
that?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so you have like a little lunch. Is it one of those like proper lunch tins?
Oh yes.
I brought like 3 of them with me because this happens every time.
Yeah.
So I've got, little tins. What is it? What kind of food would it be? Like jellied eggs?
Well, no, it's a lot of fish. Pointedly,
Yeah, we
you
can
get
do
a
that.
lot of different things. Everyone knows fish keeps great, which has been brought from different areas, and then they've been served in all manner of different means. There's also, deviled eggs, sort of, you know, small finger sandwiches and things. What's everything you'd find at the party? A charcuterie board, definitely that. Pickles, cheeses.
Jellies are in.
Jellies.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's why
yeah.
I said
Everything is jelly.
jelly eggs.
Gelatin. There's a large wobbling centerpiece, like a huge creative jelly fish in the center there. Every time you walk past it, one person's taking a scoop out of it and no one else has been brave enough to go back for anymore. It's lime green and it tastes like something orange. That's awful. You go through and you begin to load up containers with things. These sort of formal events, everyone just sort of snacks and socializes rather than actually remembering to eat a lot of the time, so you can make away with a pretty hefty haul.
Oh yeah, my parents are gonna love that.
Alright,
I gotta.
what are you guys thinking?
I'm thinking. Do we go out tonight or do we?
Well, what's the plan? How are we gonna find this guy? We wanted to ask around and see if anyone had seen the Brendan. And
Yeah.
then let Melody know.
You can leave that to me. I'm quite the charmer, you know.
Well,
Yeah, but
yeah, I believe it when I see it.
I don't remember anyone else being particularly close to them though, apart from yourself.
Mrs. Sterling just went upstairs. It's possible that she's still up there.
That's true. We could. It would be beneficial to go talk to her tonight if we could. I think that's probably a good idea, Jose. You got a good head on you.
We can pay her a visit. Do we know their address? Do they live at like the dental surgery? Guess.
You don't know their address. You could ask her about it. She's nearby, and
she's
you could probably look them up. They would be registered
If
in any location.
she might still be upstairs, we could talk to her there. But a trip across New York at night is not particularly safe.
But it is exciting.
Okay.
What do you think, Nick? You can keep us safe on these mean streets, can't you?
Yeah. New York's like a close friend of mine, but like a friend you wouldn't trust with, your wallet.
But you know, the streets
Like
of
a friend
Panama is going to stab you in the back, right?
New York and Panama are very similar in their own way.
Oh.
Yeah, there is some shit that happens in New York.
I mean, there's 4 of us. I think we'll be
Yeah. But the point is, we should try to catch her if hasn't left yet. Is it possible that she is? Well, we should.
No, I mean,
think
she spoke to you and said she'd wait until just after, and she's probably using this time to canvass people upstairs as they come out to ask them in person. Before you go up, though, what I want to know is, each of you, why are you pursuing this? Are you intending to make a profit out of this somehow? Or are you gonna, find where it is and be like, hey, now money? Or are you doing this out of the goodness of your own heart? What motivates your characters? Why might they take this hook?
I think. Look, I'm a detective because I want to protect this city. It's full of good people. It's full of some bad people, but there's a lot of good people in this city, and they don't deserve to be stolen in the night or whatever's happened to this guy. And I usually know things surrounding Atlas, our organization, usually leads to some more dangerous things. So something's going down. I want to be on top of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyone else?
I mean, I can't help but feel bad for the lady. She seemed kind of distressed. And, I don't know, maybe... I haven't done work for these people or anything, so it's not like they were crying.
They are part of this area. Maybe, you know, in future, I mean, hey, you definitely want to do work for them if they're missing.
That's true.
There was also, maybe they were some of the ones who were more friendly to you. Not everyone here treated you with, you know, because you will work on the thing that are a member of our society, so maybe you were just closer with them. Up to you. Or it could be that at the moment you're just following a hunch and you're hoping something's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
happen.
thinking that too.
Genuinely-
She seemed very distressed, and so it seemed like it could be something real that she was worried about.
And that's the other thing, you guys are part of this in theory because weird things happen, and it's an area where it can let you get a special insight into some of the occult happenings of New York. If this is one, then that gets you in the lead of it. Yep. The two of you guys.
I think Jamie nailed it. This is a new hobby. This is great.
Investigative.
Yeah. Well, I think this is where my talents lie. Maybe I found my calling this time.
What did you have scheduled for the coming couple days that you've scrapped? It was like you were going to
I don't even remember. Castillo
board meeting,
tells me.
An audit.
Well, that's fine. I was going to blow that off anyway.
Your
Right, the
grandaunt's birthday.
Oh, send her a card for me, will ya?
Okay.
God, it was bad.
All right.
Yeah, you know what? All right.
Schedule clear.
As you guys walk out, begin to head up the stairs, and night is beginning to fall, and it's that very sort of muggy atmosphere. Melody, you can see standing on the bow next to the gangplank that leads down to the dock below, is taking the opportunity to have produced a second photo of Brendan, and she's speaking to anyone that goes past, just in quick words like, "Hi, I'm sorry. Have you seen Brendan in the last few days? Did he tell you anything? Maybe let you know if he was traveling with anyone." People are not like blowing her off. They're stopping and having a conversation. People seem to be fairly friendly and all, but she doesn't seem to be having any luck so far. And when the four of you come back out, you're the last up on this area, and she turns to you kind of exhausted. I'm sorry. Hello again, Detective, Mr. Vanderbilt, Mr. Castillo. No luck, Edie?
Well, it just so happens that José over here
Jose.
happened to Jose. What is it actually?
Jose.
Happened to overhear Brendan mentioning someplace he might have been interested in a couple weeks ago.
I'm sorry, Jose?
I overheard your husband talking about the League of Forgotten Men.
Yes. A short-lived flight of fancy. He only attended a couple times, but I asked him not to. He was convinced he would be able to turn it into profitable business. They have people in political areas and are well placed to possibly give us the uplifts that we.
A lot of these
produce.
people need dentistry.
Everyone needs dentists at some point, and a political person in the right area could possibly give direct advertising to us. I don't know. It was a thought as I know, he did not pursue it very intently.
And his interest stopped. He left amicably.
He only went a couple times recently. He went the week before he left. He never got a chance really to stop it. He said he wasn't planning to return.
Can I please roll a psychology test
Yeah,
to
definitely.
determine if she is being entirely truthful?
See, this is why I didn't roll the dice for you. If I'd rolled those dice for you,
It would have been
that is a 32. Does
32.
this system work if we're going to keep passing them? I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it.
We'll keep it loose.
A 32 will be a success
Okay.
for me. Just a regular success.
Yeah, definitely. So she is she does not like this league. She does not like her husband's association with them. As you can tell, she's telling the truth. Her husband has told her that he does not intend to return. Although you are not entirely sure that she believes him.
And he went a few times, and the last visit was a week before he vanished.
It would have been the Monday before he vanished. That's right.
Okay.
And he went 2 to 3 times in total.
When he went the first few times, was he open about that, or was he trying to hide it?
No. I accompanied him to the first meeting. I found it not at all to my liking. And he thought that, to attempt anything, there's no point doing it halfway, but to see it through. So he went a couple more times and confirmed this would not be suitable.
And have you heard the name Ferdinand Argus?
Yes. charlatan has stripped us of a healthy portion of our wealth. He believes that he can hypnotize you and cast you back. Now, I'm no stranger to the strangeness that surrounds us, but the man is a sham. He fills the room with scented candles, and he has a odd trick that seems to turn your eyes grey or something, which I don't know how it happens, but he's convincing, and he's good at lying. My husband seemed to be rather enamored of him and his work. Myself, I never felt the effects.
And what was their relationship like, towards the end at least? It must have been amicable at the beginning, but did they have a falling out? Was there an argument? Anything you might remember?
There was an argument, but not between them. No, I asked that he stop going,
And he refused you? Or he agreed?
My husband is can be strong-willed, and he said he would not go any further. He said he would not return. You can see that she's a little put off by this train of thought and by this pushing this direction. Probably a charm roll or possibly persuasion to try and sort of, because this is talking about private matters. There's especially a period where how they present themselves is very important in New York society. Admitting to certain, failings at home could cast aspersions on business or on.
I understand that this is not an easy thing to talk about, but I can assure you, as a police officer, I'm looking into this and the best interests of your husband. I want to find him, and if I need to find him, I need to know all the answers. Can I make a persuade?
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead and make a persuasion roll.
I'm gonna give these to you, Rachel, and ask you to roll them for me. Because
Do you want to do it on the thing? Do you want to just? Oh yeah, we need the thing, don't we?
all right.
What's your persuasion?
50. So as long as it's
68.
Oh, drag.
So you can luck it. You can spend 18 points of luck to do it, and in you do regenerate luck a bit faster. You get a chance each session for a
it's a lot of luck.
It is a lot of luck. You could also push this, and this would be basically saying, you know how I said I was a cop and I was taking the case? I am a cop. You do need to tell me if I ask you questions.
I kind of like that, and I'm going to do that, and I also have 50 in intimidate, I can also like switch it down.
Seeing this
double
angle
down.
emerge, I also have 50 in intimidate, and
no.
can I mention just casually on the side, in an attempt to assist with this role, that so you're saying that the last two conversations you had with your husband were arguments telling him to, leave organizations, and now he's missing, implying that she may be a suspect unless she.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You are beginning to put the twist.
Is that worth a bonus die?
Yep. So go ahead and roll with advantage. So.
Oh, cool.
A bonus die.
Cool.
But this is an intimidate.
Very good.
Hey.
19.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
that
is a
really good.
success too.
Okay. She it's a push, and she's resistant from it. Then she kind of breaks and falls backwards a little bit, and begins to explain herself. The idea.
Can you just move into the microphone slightly?
Oh yeah, sorry. The idea that I can actually just move it closer to me as well.
Excellent.
A bunch of things here. The idea that she is possibly tied to her husband's absence is pretty scary, and she doesn't want to be associated with it. So she begins to talk, and she goes, No. Listen, I asked him. He said he wouldn't, but the night in the week preceding, I heard, rather, I smelt a lilac or something, the same perfume that he uses in his ceremonies on his clothing as I was washing it. It seems he was going, and the night that he left, it was late, and I can't be certain, but I thought I saw his eyes were grayed. He may have been to visit him.
Okay, good to know.
Well, these are all really great questions.
I did speak with the police first. I filed a report and everything, and they just weren't taking it up. I'm trying to find my husband.
I
assure
understand
you.
that, but NYPD has a lot of area to cover. I just know that this organization, things are not always as they seem. So I'm looking into this kind of on my personal time.
I appreciate that, and all of you. And listen, if there's anything I can do to repay you, money's tight at the moment, but I'm sure we can find some way to make this right.
All the repayment we need from you and Brendan are seeing your smiling faces back on that boat.
She sort of smiles a little bit. You are, for what's worth, very charming.
I am so
know.
charming.
I've got starry eyes. This is the man I love. This is, look at this man. He genuinely means it.
Hang on a sec. Hang on a sec. I mean, there should be some compensation.
Listen,
This is a private investigative service.
The poor couple is destitute. You wouldn't.
we're not destitute. I assure you. No, we're quite well off. There's been an issue with the bank or something, or Brendan seems to have taken out a significant portion of our savings. I'm sure that once he's found, we'll be able to put everything back
that's
to order.
terrible, but as long as he's not around, you don't have an income, do you?
No.
Well, then I guess that's fine.
I'm sure I could underwrite a small loan just to keep things going along.
No, I assure you, it's fine. And the best thing to happen would just be to see Brendan home and safe. I am worried, and with each passing night, I am growing more worried. I don't know what to do. If you have any suggestions as well, I'll gladly help to pursue them. But she just seems a little bit lost.
Don't worry. I have a friend who got lost on a boat once. He didn't come back for 2 months. His parents were terrified. But it happens. It sounds bizarre, but it happens. Don't panic.
The cruise ship was so big. Oh, you were talking. Oh, that's fine.
This was before I was his bodyguard.
Oh, of course. How could you know that story? What story? There's no story.
Brendan's not one for camping. I could be that he's trapped somewhere, and she begins to sort of follow that train of thought, and she goes, well, I don't know where they went. He didn't tell you. They've never been previously. I don't know if that league has possibly had something planned, or if this...
I'm sure he's fine, and that he'll be back with time, and God will be watching over him.
Before we head off, do you know you said you've been to one of these meetings for the league. Do
Yes.
they normally meet in the same location? Do you know where that is?
Yes, they meet Mondays, Wednesdays, and I think Tuesdays in the evenings. They're based out in Brooklyn.
Okay. Today is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So
So
they'd
we-
be
we-
meeting
we-
Their
today.
last meeting of the week is tonight.
Yeah.
And she catches herself and says, no, sorry, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, on Tuesdays.
Oh.
It's
we
probably,
can go
it's pretty late now. You would have missed this one.
Yeah.
Especially getting to Brooklyn is no small feat. You need to
Yeah.
cross the river or whatever. Yeah.
Across all of
the way
Manhattan
through
and
there,
that bit,
down.
yeah.
It's a few hours drive. Make a
Okay.
day of it. I can also I can refer you to Mr. Argus's office. He's based out of his home. When I went to call him, I already asked. I only met the boy who meets people when they come in, and he had nothing helpful to say.
And whereabouts is his office?
His office is in Central Manhattan.
Central Manhattan. Okay.
She gives
That's
us an
not too
address.
bad.
I take it back.
Nope.
West, other side of the city, in New Jersey.
Well, that's still
About
pretty
with
close.
one.
We're on the west side of the city.
She is based in Central Manhattan. Is where her office is.
Yeah.
This boy, what would he look like?
Young, blonde hair, bespectacled. He was very polite, but when I began to push, I wanted to see the diary. He asked me to leave. He was, if anything, I think I may have made a bit of a fool of myself.
Casting your mind back, and forgive me, you didn't happen to see that boy at any of at the meeting that you attended with the league, did you?
She thinks no, I don't think so. And we met him prior. I'm sure I would have recognized him. At those meetings, I would have given anything for someone to talk to who was sensible.
Thank you.
So the ship is in West
Manhattan.
Yeah.
on Manhattan.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, so
So
we'd have to
if
just
you go
cross the
up,
bridge.
Up, about there. Yep. If you want to dot it or something. Yep.
let's just say that's Atlas.
Yep.
Do you can make more of these, right? I can scribble.
Yep.
on
Or if
this.
you just write, or if you just do the dot, remember which one it is.
Yep.
Yes.
I'll just put a little A.
Yep.
And then the League
It's in
are
Brooklyn.
in Brooklyn.
Yep,
Does it
that's
matter
right.
where I put that dot, or is
Do
I
it
agree
in
with-
like.
I agree with your coloration of red for the league.
Do it above. See where Hoboken. See where that grid ends. Do it just above
Wait.
that.
That's Jersey though.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's Argus's. My bad.
Yep.
The League, you're gonna have to go to the mini map above
Oh, okay.
and go into Brooklyn about halfway into it.
Sorry, I'm just standing up. Okay.
So up. Yeah, about that. That works. So it's quite a ways away.
Okay. I feel really good with my face. Screen. Okay, and then Argus is just above
Hoboken.
that.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right. That's right.
That's also an A.
Good.
I didn't think that through.
And their offices, there being the Sterlings, are at about central Manhattan. So sort of directly across from where you currently are, and in the middle.
So about there.
Yep. Now, where are you guys based? That's why we've got the map out. Do you want to put a dot for where people are staying? Just
we'd be in the
ballpark
Upper
an
East
area.
Side.
Which one is
Yes.
the tallest skyscraper in Manhattan?
35 Chrysler
The-
Building.
Or you could be overlooking
Rockefeller.
Central Park.
Oh, that'd be pretty
I like
expensive.
that.
And it's
Okay.
a giant tire scope.
Yeah.
The van.
Is the Van de Ven Tower.
Yep.
Yep,
do you stay in
VDV.
the office, or is that like penthouse?
No, I got a
on the
penthouse,
highest-
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Are your family also based in the same ones?
No, they can't stand it. They couldn't
they
stand being
might-
in the same building as me.
So you're here.
Yep. I reckon that's alright. For Van de Ven.
So
He said answering for him.
No, it's fine. Yeah, give me the long, stretchy
Okay.
view of the
Yeah.
park.
So you
That's
guys
good.
look all the way down. Nice.
I'm in Brooklyn, but
you're
I'm
in
probably
Brooklyn.
close enough
So
to
you can just
Manhattan
hop
that I
across
can
the
hop
bridge, yeah.
across. Like I'm probably just
Up
above
there.
where. Yeah, that'll do.
But you're near the. What's
Yeah.
your name? Your last name is.
DeMartino.
DeMartino.
DM. Or
Maybe I'll
the
put
D.
you as. Put you as N.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
Nick.
Nick. Where would I live? Probably Brooklyn as well.
Or New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know.
New Jersey's cheaper than Brooklyn, I would
mean,
say.
I am from New York, but I'm not from New York.
or in the south of Manhattan. Yeah, Jersey City works.
I like Jersey City because that means we've got
I
one
think
in each.
everyone's kind of
Yeah.
And I presume you stay with.
I stay with. Well, I don't. I just stay in a room that Mr. Van de Ven has prepared for me below the penthouse.
That's quite nice.
Yes, it's a very nice room. I'm very happy with it. But
And the rent is very reasonable.
that's what I was getting. Yeah.
It
Previously,
comes
it
right
held,
out of his salary. It's very effective.
previously it just held cleaning equipment.
And he just tries to be, if he goes to the mini fridge, you just take that out of his salary. It's fine.
Do we have anywhere else we want to put on the map just while it's here?
That's all good.
I think that's all right for
Yeah,
now.
looking
I think
good.
that's all the locations
I-
we're currently aware of.
I do apologize, chat. The letters may be a bit small.
That's
But
alright. It's about to
You
shrink when we put it
you
back
get
up.
the idea. It's city of how many million?
A shitload.
4.
It would be interesting to know at this time, but anyway, we won't get into that.
That green screen magic, that is so cool. I enjoy thoroughly watching you pull it out and then you appear. That's very cool.
All right.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Eat your heart out, George Lucas, who wasn't born.
Wait, what?
I don't know why I'm still in character. This is
It's like
fun.
George Lucas for green screen?
I don't know, man. Shut up.
James Cameron was Avatar, right? That's probably my one.
Yeah,
Like, just
eat
excessive CGI.
your heart out, John Ford. He was a director, I think.
Have you made cars?
He made. I think he made Stagecoach.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like you're digging your own hole here.
Commit. Google it and commit. All right.
Um,
So you got a couple points. It's getting towards evening now. Night's beginning to fall, or it's probably in those sort of amber stages of sunset.
I was right. I just googled it. He did in fact make Stagecoach.
Nice,
It
alright.
came out in 1935, so
Rather
It just
than
came out.
Literally-
Given that we've had a conversation with powering over the stagecoach conversation. Given that we've had a conversation with Melody, perhaps we should meet the following morning. There's no need to go gallivanting about the city tonight. We could meet tomorrow, and I think that it seems rather evident to me that Ferdinand Argus is the more interesting lead to follow than the League of Forgotten Men.
and we can also do that during the day and leave the league for the evening.
Yes.
If you like, you're free to meet at our home, and you can look in the office. I don't think there'll be anything, but the records are open to you if it's useful.
That'd be fine.
Seems like a good idea. Shall we meet tomorrow morning then? Say 10 o'clock?
At her Manhattan offices, and I assume it's her abode
The
as
home's
well.
nearby.
Yeah. we can look into what he has in his office.
Excellent.
Excellent.
That sounds like a
works.
good idea.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
And it would be my pleasure, as long as we're on this investigation, to bankroll the entire affair. I'll call this the inaugural investigation of the Van der Ven Detective Agency of interesting dealings and many curious particulars.
I am
LLC.
I am not part of this.
Yeah, that I've
As
already.
in, you call it what you want.
I thought you were asking about monetary recompense.
Yeah, okay, I mean,
That's,
it's your money, it's your name.
What rights do you hold as the founder of the detective agency?
Oh, veto? I say what goes, as long as you're on my dime.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
Melody thanks all of you again in earnest, even though nothing's necessarily been accomplished just yet. And then says, but it's getting late. I'm going to go home and try and get some sleep. I trust I'll see all of you soon. Thank you again, and best of luck.
Do you have enough money for a cab ride home?
Yes, I drove.
Okay.
Yes, no, I'm quite alright. I just seem very determined to. Yes, and she heads down to the street, gets inside her automobile, and begins to peel away. She does seem fairly.
Cool.
Alright, so the plan is for everyone to head home. Alright, so heading back through the streets of Manhattan late at night, there is.
There they are.
Oh my god! There are some seedier areas, but all of you are native to the city and you have a pretty good feel for it. The two of you heading straight up towards the penthouse, and you can see your tower in the skyline for a long way away. Do you just sort of look out at it wistfully?
I do.
Do you sit in the front or do you sit in the back and be driven?
Back, surely.
Yeah.
Are you my driver as well?
No, I can't drive, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
So you will have to employ another driver.
That's alright.
Also, if I'm driving, to keep you safe, I need to be watching the road, which would be in direct contrast with me needing to watch you at all times to keep you safe.
So do you sit in the front or the back?
Where are you sitting?
In the back.
Well, then I sit in the back, directly
Oh.
opposite you.
Oh yes, we got one of those
The
double
limo?
back
He
things.
watches you the
Oh,
whole way.
yeah.
Yeah.
They had those like it's not a limo, but it's like
It's like a mini limo.
yeah.
I'm in mode.
So you guys head up that way. Meanwhile, Edie and Nick both cross the river, heading towards their respective homes. A little bit shabbier, but personal, and where you sleep for the evening. So do you want to describe your literal tower and where you sleep, what your rooming
I'd
situation is?
love to, because this is something I've given a lot of thought. Yes, it is the tower. It's right in the middle. Right in the middle of the southern end of Central Park, overlooking the entire thing. I get a lovely view of the sun slowly breaking the city skyline. It's the top floor, of course.
Nice. Very nice.
It's kind of like this a large open room primarily. It's a large open space where I've got little kind of shrines and monuments to each of my hobbies that I've picked up and variously discarded.
And abandoned.
Yeah, so there's like a fishing rod and, I don't know, a painter's easel scattered around. I'll get back to them one day.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, yeah. Gold. Oh man, I just remember what the elevators look like. They're this big golden thing.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, and
It goes all the way to the top.
it goes all the way to the
Does
top.
it go past? Yeah.
It goes it goes all the way to the top, but then it stops at like a monogram WVDV. That's where the arrow lands.
It's got counting up. It's got 19, 20, 21 VDV.
And it counts down to your apartment. It's the only one that matters. Everything else is whatever. Yep, so you head up, so you pick your way through your abandoned hobbies, or sorry, soon to be returned to your hobbies. Are you going to put anything out for your investigation?
Ooh,
Do you
that's
get
a
a
good
little
plan.
notebook or something? Or?
I'll probably call down to the bellhop. Can I get a notebook and a magnifying glass? Brano.
And you go, yes, Mr. Van der Van, and you can hear them. They'll need to go outside, find somewhere open this late, and
Did you
procure
say
these for you.
IHOP?
What?
What did you say where you went?
The penthouse?
No, you said you went somewhere and you asked for something.
Oh, I called the bellhop.
The bell.
IHOP, the
I
international
thought you
pancakes.
said
Yeah, everyone knows IHOPs provide you now with stationery.
Glasses and stationery, yeah. So he nips out, and that evening you'll have a small thing, and there's like a silver platter with the thing over it.
Oh,
Pulled off
nice.
a little magnifying glass and notepad.
I love that. I tip him.
Which you can preview. Right, thank you.
I tip him.
Thank you,
Yes.
Zach.
How much do I tip these days? $5?
Not enough.
$10?
I think that is enough.
That's certainly
a
enough.
lot.
I'm
I
taking-
don't know. I give him $10.
How much is
Well,
Well,
he
Mr.
takes
Van
$10.
Van.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Van de Ven. Anything else you want? You just you'll find me, huh?
I
Pay for my
will.
kids' tuition.
And he sort of lingers in the doorway a little bit. And you just click.
Thank
close
you.
the door.
Yeah.
How about yourself, Jose? Just downstairs.
I live in what to Mr. Van der Van is the very second-rate accommodation on the floor below, but to me it's actually very, very nice.
Yeah.
To anyone, it's very, very nice. It's a quaint little room. It's rather sparsely furnished. I hang up my suit very carefully. I do some vigorous old 1920s style calisthenics exercise before I go to bed. Lots of squats, lots of deep kind of chest stretches, and then off to bed.
Do you have any personal equipment or decorations in the area?
I have. Yes, I actually do. My assets are in the form of a single painting, which was bought for me by Mr. Van der Van. It's a rather rare painting of the Panama Canal, which I keep on the wall across from my bed.
This is massive, ornate painting and
Yeah.
nothing else.
Yeah,
no
and
decorations.
Mr. Van der Van bought it almost as an afterthought,
Yeah.
but it's actually a very valuable painting.
And then you have on the side like your one table, your one chair, your bowl that you eat cereal out of, or whatever. Yeah.
Mr. Van der Van takes care of me. You know, I'm living in what would be deemed luxury because of my peripheral to him.
Awesome. You want for nothing. Alright, fantastic. How about the two of you guys?
So I head home. I've been thinking, do we live at the mechanic shop? But I think we probably wouldn't. Like, I don't think, because I imagine it'd be like a garage. You wouldn't live.
You could live above it.
Yeah.
But you also, I think you're a bit further out. Also, your family's quite successful mechanics. You're out of the main city. You can probably afford to have a house behind it as well or
Yes.
something. So there's and you can have offices in that possibly.
Yeah.
And then the other one is just the garage for the cars. and
So-
storage.
I imagine we have the garage itself, and then there's the house nearby. But it's definitely the house. It is basically just a suburban family home. We've done fairly well for ourselves, but it is us. Like, it is my mum and dad, my elder brother, and me living in this house. So it's I would say it's like very average.
Yeah.
I have my own little space. We've got the garage, like our garage, as well as the separate mechanic shop. And I am honestly just heading home, checking in on the garage, checking in on my parents, who I guess it's pretty late, right? Like, it's
Yeah, they're probably downstairs in like dressing gowns and things, having a cup of tea before going to bed. Is your brother currently at home as well?
Yes.
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 And you were away from home, right? You've now come back.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you moved back into your like childhood room and everything's still decorated
yeah.
from when you left? And
I mean, some things are still there, posters and stuff.
Yeah,
But it's
and we can make it sort of yours.
yeah. I would say like her space is fairly like what's the word I'm thinking of? It's like not very ornate. It's
Yeah.
just space.
Practical.
Yeah. I imagine her workspace is in the garage itself. So maybe what I do before bed is just like tinker at something, sort of just like zone out.
Just
and
side
then-
projects and things.
Yeah.
Are your family aware of some of the weirder projects you take and your membership of occult organizations?
I tell them that it is I don't tell them what it is, and I don't tell them about the weird science stuff. I tell them it is a meeting of New York's young professionals. It's like a networking thing. My parents are really excited about that.
Yeah.
They'd like me to marry like a nice doctor. Haven't done that yet. So yeah, they do not know.
Okay, yeah. And they see your projects as your sort of personal things that you're
It's-
working.
yeah,
They kind of
I
they respect that's your area. and
I
they
put
kind
like
of say,
sheets over it, and I'm like, oh, it's to keep dust out.
Yeah.
Don't.
pull it off, it's a whirling death ray or something, and I go, okay, nice. Alright, so you can do a bit of tinkering. By the time you head to bed, it's pretty late, the rest of the house is quiet, and you can dim the lights and go to sleep. Nick, where are you based?
So pretty classic New York City apartments, if you can picture them, with the like the fire escapes bolted on the outside,
yeah.
classic. Subway, take the subway everywhere. Get off, up the stairs, check in on Mrs. Murphy, who lives across the hall. She's getting old. Just like to check in from time to time, make sure she's okay. And then into my one-bedroom apartment when I live alone. I hang up my coat next to my 2 police uniforms and 3 coats, and then that's it. That's basically all I've got. And there's 3 corkboards of 3 separate cold cases that I'm working on all around, and I lie down on my single bed and fall asleep.
And you have to, and as you lie down in bed, you can hear the subway going past occasionally.
Yeah.
And you have to time it, and you're like, there goes the L train. All right, I have 10 minutes to get to sleep. Then you sort of close your eyes and focus.
And there's an argument from the Estonian couple next door.
And you see like banging on the thing. Shut the hell up.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. All right, and eventually.
But in saying all that, he's not unhappy.
Yeah.
He likes being in the city and part of the city. You know, it's the veins of the city around him. It's the quiet that unsettles him more than anything else.
Yeah. You can feel the heartbeat of it, and you're aware that New York is continuing to roll forward. So as the 4 of you slowly drift off into sleep and prepare to wake the following morning and pursue this case, we will take a short 10-minute break.
Hurrah!
So we'll start up a timer and everything. I'll throw this to one of the boards or whatever. And we'll be back in, what's the current time? 9. Ooh, 9:10. Bam, look at that. All right, we'll catch you soon.
Bam.
sit down.
All right, we have sound and volume and things. Welcome back. We are going to jump back in, and what's currently happening, as a bit of catch up, is our 4 investigators are beginning to look into the case of a missing person. One Brandon Sterling, whose wife, Melody Sterling, has said he is missing. She is cautious and concerned because he has recently been associating with some weird people. One, a practitioner of sort of occult sciences who believes he can send the mind back to revisit past lives, and another fascist organization that has political ties within the city. So, as we rejoin our group, everyone is waking up and we need to go about their day. Are we all early risers, or does anyone need to jab in the ribs to get up and moving?
Nope, I am up at dawn.
Yep, ready to go?
Yep.
Went to sleep late, got up early?
Yeah.
It's Benjamin Franklin? Was he the one that was all about, you need 4 hours of sleep?
Oh yeah, I think so. That sounds like
There were some people.
I think there's a lot of myths about Benjamin Franklin, but I don't know which are myths and which
I thought you were going to say, but that's not one of them.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Benjamin, sure. Let's go with
I am an authority.
It's not like anyone's watching this and can fact check us.
What are you going to do?
Who's gonna know more about Benjamin Franklin than 5 Australians?
Alright, you're up early and ready to go.
Yep.
Nick, I presume you're also not a super...
Yeah, unless I feel like unless I've been drinking, which I do from time to time.
Of course.
I'll be up early. Yeah.
You kind of get shaky, because I think as the apartment block begins to come to life,
You can't
really
help it.
sleep
Yeah,
through
yeah,
it, and
yeah.
you're like, alright, I'm up. You guys didn't exactly set a meeting time.
Damn,
You just
we
sort of
did. 10
breakfast-
o'clock.
I take it back.
Oh, I'm there well before 10.
Get a coffee on the way and a donut.
Yeah, why
Or a
not?
bagel. I think bagel.
Bagel. Yeah, I like a bagel.
With
I-
schmear.
Give me a bagel with a
Yeah.
schmear. Yeah.
And
yeah.
you guys are the closest, so you can have a little sleep then if you want.
I do. And I wake to the face of Jose.
I would never wake you up, sir. I'd be standing outside the door coughing.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't wake you. I was just coughing loudly.
All right, so I stumble out at 9:48.
Get halfway down the elevator before you realize my magnifying glass. You go all the way back up again. Have you dressed any differently for today's?
No, I have to look my best.
You get to see a sharp pinstripe suit.
Well, since that I have a wide collection of pinstripe
Ooh,
suits.
very nice.
And perhaps even a fedora or 2.
Ooh.
Pinstripe fedora.
Sorry,
Something to see.
they were still cool at this point.
Yes,
That's fine.
they're still cool.
Swanky.
Wait, they're still cool now, right, guys?
That's
Guys?
like a proper dandy.
I'm so sorry.
What do I do with my fedora
You're
collection?
gonna make Daniel roll sanity. Let him have this.
So, the 4 of you all meet at the Sterling abode. Actually, I think the office is probably the more practical one to start at least. And then you can go out and begin your investigation. So, they are set within Manhattan between 2 sort of like large buildings on either side. There is a small tucked away dentist office, which then has more sort of like open office space above it where other people can rent or run businesses from, and a set of stairs leads up to those. But if you go straight in from the city street, you hit their business, and then to the side, not far along, is their home, which you can actually see Melody leaving from, locking the door, and then walking to the front of the office where she greets the 4 of you in the morning. Comes over and she seems to be rested and looking a little bit better, but still a bit concerned. Seeing people that you guys have turned up, she definitely brightens a little bit, and she says, I'm glad to see all of you this morning. I trust you found the area all right?
Yes, certainly, Miss Stone. Yeah.
Good. I'm afraid I don't think there'll be much in here that's good for you, but as I said, you're free to look around. She pulls out a key, and as she goes, she begins to talk. She goes, we have an assistant, but they have been, I told them not to come in for the last couple of days, given Brendan's away, and I can contact them shortly after. He's a fine young man, but nothing much of
Do you
note.
work with your husband?
No, I'm not a dentist myself. I'll occasionally handle the phones, and I've been known to spread the word, but no, I don't work.
Okay. Yeah.
I keep the house and keep an ear to the ground for opportunities. Inside the office, it is a 1-story area. There is a waiting room to one side, a point where a receptionist desk can be held, and then a single, I want to say operating theatre because I can't think of any other word for it, but operating theatre, like the chair that goes back and all the whirring drills and
But
shit.
also
You know,
like
dentist.
1930s style, so it all looks way scarier. And like the tools they're using are like like a saw and a chisel, and you're like, you're gonna put that in my mouth? That looks like it's designed for concrete.
Nothing is sanitated.
Yeah, exactly.
Sanitated.
You heard me.
Sanitated. Maybe like a consult room. Like it's not like a theater size. It's...
And you come in and you go, and where's the anesthetic? And she goes, anesthetic? No.
We chisel them out.
I was going to say wooden dowel you bite on, but that would be counterintuitive to death.
Yeah, you need to get in there.
That's
yeah.
true. No, that's how they remove teeth. You just jam your mouth down on a wooden
Wow,
dowel.
yeah.
They knock you out with a 2x4 if you pay them extra.
What we're saying is that we're not very invested in saving this dentist.
She steps outside and she says, but feel free to have a look around. Is there any questions that you have or any insight I could give? I understand you wanted to look elsewhere, but I figured this was as good a meeting place as any. There's a cafe just across the road that's good for breakfast, or I'm afraid I'm not sure. I've never run an investigation.
Okay. I've got this. I walk into the sort of operating room and the office is attached, and I just want to do a scan for anything that looks out of order, out of place, anything, using my investigative skills. Just see if anything. Like, is it a neat and tidy where everything's in its nice little place, or is it messy where I'm not going to notice anything out of place? I don't know.
Good call. So you can go spot hidden, which would be, is anything here intentionally, like,
hidden?
Put away or dropped in the corner? Or you could do psychology and do a bit of like a man's office is a man, the way one keeps their tools, one can read a lot from blah, 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 blah. You're trying to get a read on
I don't think I need a read on him as of yet. I think I can still work on that from other angles.
Okay.
Let's see if he's hiding anything. Like if he's not, he's not. But if he is, I want to know about it.
Right. So you're going to do that.
Yep.
What are the rest of you doing?
I'd like to find the most interesting bit of machinery and try out my new magnifying glass.
So you're going to find something and be inspecting.
Yeah.
Just for
one of the,
having a go.
One of the drills.
Okay. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Okay. So you're going to begin to run yourself over all the drills and see how they work, and wowee, make a mental picture. Edie.
Maybe he's written something down somewhere. We could have a look through papers, books.
Does he have a private office? Like he would...
Yes. We keep everything well documented for audits and similar things, and we have a exhaustive list of every patient that's tended to and upcoming appointments. We've had to reschedule a few already, and the deeper into the week we get, the more I'll have to push.
Can I ask, how is business going? Is it busy, too quiet? How has he been? Has he been stressed?
Well, it's going. Look, it's a tough time for everyone, and he is concerned, justifiably so, that if we make a wrong move, we could end up on the streets like so many others. This is a tumultuous time, but Brendan has done his best to keep ourselves ahead of the curve and to make sure that we are always prepared for what's coming. We are doing better than most. We're doing better than most.
So they're fine. You're not struggling financially.
You guys have all probably personally felt the effects of the Great Depression.
That's true.
Probably quite
Soundly. The great what?
Sorry, this is the first we're hearing.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're kind of so high up that, look, obviously stock market collapsing and things would affect you, but you have such high credit rating, I think you basically have to be just one of those active ones where you just bought stuff up and you're kind of writing it out on property and stuff.
But honestly, it's not me. Like, a paycheck appears in my bank account every week from my family, and that's all I know.
And no one's had the goal to lower it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Jose, you're probably a bit more aware just from the local people, but you're actually a little bit separated as well. And you work for the government. You're fairly safe. Edie, you're probably the one that's felt it the most, and your family's fallen on reasonably hard times.
Yeah, it's
as a result of this.
Not going great.
No. And Melody's fairly aware of that, and kind of loath to say we're struggling when they aren't.
Okay. Are we rolling your roll now?
Well, I want to see what everyone's doing. So you're going through
we'll
exact things. You're going to give a general feel for the area and see if anything's out of place or missed. Jose and Edie, you're thinking like some reports and things, or?
I'm actually, I feel that Mr. Van der Van's very safe inside this room. I'm going to have a walk around the outside of the building, and I'm actually going to take a look if I can see any signs of a break-in, broken windows, signs of a struggle out in the alley down the side.
Idea. Okay, alright, so you're going to head outside and begin to canvass the area. Lastly, Edie.
I am going to have a poke around his office.
Okay,
See if I can
alright.
find any.
Go through some records, see if there's anything interesting.
Anything that stands out. Anything weird that might flag to me. I don't have great spot hidden, but I'm going to have a poke around regardless.
Do you have library use?
So that would probably be
I
library
do,
use.
yes.
Yeah.
I actually do have
Alright, so
library
what I'm going to need rolls, spot hidden for yourself, as you're just looking for everything, see if anything's been dropped or hidden away. Library use for you, Edie, is you go through these. She was right when she said they're exhaustive. They have documented everything, and you're going through like, that's just a receipt. That's just, you're trying to find anything
That's interesting.
instant. Anything interesting. You're poring over every medical instrument. I guess you could
Do I get a bonus die from my magnifying
yes,
glass?
you should, absolutely. You get a bonus die, and I think you're rolling. What are you going for? Like mechanical repair for how they're put together?
Oh, more
s-
spot hidden, if I may.
Yeah, medicine for the stuff works. You can go spot hidden.
Are we sure
I guess to see if there's any like flex or something.
Spot hidden is fine, thank you.
Are we sure we want to give this man that power?
I'm confident it won't have much of an effect. You're right, there is a level of precedent. Yeah, no, I'm sticking to my guts. You have advantage. It is a medicine roll to see as you go through this.
Ooh, fuck.
Jim, I think you're...
Track, possibly?
Ooh, yeah, definitely. Track would be great.
Okay, I rolled a success.
You rolled really well.
2.
Okay, so it's half under. You succeed on a hard skill check. Okay, going through these documents, you begin to move through them. They are exhaustive. They cover a lot of people. You are able to confirm that their finances are well in order, and the amount that was removed, if she was saying that their account was basically empty, that is a lot of money that's gone missing. Like, we are talking
Right.
more than your family's shop is probably worth.
Okay.
Like, it is significant. Additionally,
Suspicious.
there have been a string of cancellations in the last few, probably couple weeks, not after he's left, which are scheduled around the same times that the league meets, and also on other days when Melody can confirm he sees Argus. So it looks like he's actually dialing back business, where he said he was going out to sort of drum up business. He's actually not taking appointments because of
And
this.
he cancelled them,
That's
not
right.
not
Yeah,
them.
he said
he's-
no. Look, I'm gonna have to reschedule you to here.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So he's losing business to follow these. What is it?
Charlatan.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep.
So he must really want something out of this because they seem comfortable, and he is throwing that away.
Yeah. Also, I can see what his wife might not be super pleased with that.
You really?
Don't take anything off the table.
Yourself, you're going through and looking for hidden things. Look, this is a pretty well kept office. Roll for one.
Yeah, go ahead.
But this is a fairly well kept office. He has
26.
things. That's success. Yeah.
This is two.
Ooh, yeah, well done. This is a fairly well kept area. All the tools are put away. They're cleaned regularly, and they have not been used in the last week or so, given that there are no appointments been made. You go through a couple of drawers looking in, and you're like, I don't know what that medical equipment does. The only thing that sticks out is you can see a pamphlet for the League of Forgotten Men, which is like something they publish semi-regularly. There is the note of where Argus is located, but you already know where his home is. It confirms the address. And finally, there is on the back of the pamphlet, as you look at it, there is signed the name Leopold Fontanelli. And it seems to be, and it has a date scratched next to it, which is the Thursday that he went missing. It seems to be them arranging a meeting.
Any other? Just Leopold Fontanelli.
Fontanelli, the date, which I can get,
Yeah, but
May
the
2nd.
date, May 2nd.
but no address or time.
No address or time.
Address or time?
Leopold Fontanelli, and he disappeared on the 2nd of May 1935.
Correct.
I suspect.
All true.
I suspect this Fontanelli character is linked to the League in some way.
No.
But I like to pocket that brochure.
I got it.
Like,
As you go over it, it's reasonably well put together. It reads. Look, they did grammar check on it at least, and the spelling's all correct. It is not. It's one of those ones that is sort of deceptively offensive. A first pass over it doesn't seem to say anything. It seems to be very patriotic.
Yeah.
But it doesn't actually say anything openly derogatory or inflammatory. It more seems to be a call to, hey, come on down and meet like-minded people that want to, put our best foot forward in the next decade for America.
Keep America great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. This is a fascist organization for anyone joining us.
Just to confirm our last known positioning of Brendan, Melody said that she had seen him on Wednesday or Thursday? Thursday night. So she saw him on Thursday night, and he was displaying signs of having been under the effect of
Argus.
Ferdinand. Of Argus. So, based on that, and I assume this is kind of, we'll be sharing information, so perhaps I should wait a second.
What I will assume is everyone's sharing information unless otherwise noted.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, in which case we can probably say, based on that, this meeting with Leopold was, unless it was at midnight, it probably happened before he went missing, if you know what I mean.
What you mean?
Melody saw him on Thursday night.
Oh, and
so
this,
if he had
this
a
is on the
meeting
Wednesday.
if he had a meeting on the Thursday,
Yeah.
which he did, this meeting probably happened before he went missing.
Yeah, but maybe, yeah, possibly, yeah. It's not ridiculous for her to go, for him to have gone to a meeting at night, though. But yeah,
She saw him come back. She was pretty tired when he came back.
Oh,
It
okay.
would have been late.
So
She
he
doesn't
came
know the
back.
exact.
okay, but still, he's a last one to have seen him, sort of thing.
She's the last one.
to
What
see
I
him,
want
but
to
yeah.
make.
I agree.
What I sort of want to make sure that we don't do is that we don't start firing down towards anything that is basically, don't follow a path that is actually not going to lead us anywhere. And I think that we should be following the most suspicious individual, which I think is Ferdinand. And I don't think that the League of Forgotten Men at this stage are necessarily.
Oh, so you think that he went to this meeting with Leopold, possibly from this league. He then went to see Ferdinand, came home, and by the next morning was gone.
Yes, I mean, look, Jose is not an expert. He's a bodyguard, not an expert anyway. But it seems to me like the League are almost a peripheral. They seem dangerous at this stage, but I don't think that they actually have anything necessarily to do with what is the real link here. Is that he's lost a lot of money for Ferdinand. He's going behind his wife's back to see Ferdinand. The moment before he goes missing, he's clearly just been to see Ferdinand.
Can I quickly check? When Brendan disappears, he comes home and says he's going to leave tomorrow to go camping, or...
Melody says that, speaking to her, she can reiterate. She says, yes, I was asleep. I woke up when he came home. He said something about a camping trip over the weekend. We didn't have any appointments. I mumbled my acquiescence and he, I presume, departed. I don't know if he came to bed.
So
I went back to sleep.
he could have left on Thursday evening.
My suspicion is Friday morning, but nothing. Yes, he could have left Thursday.
Okay, so his last place where we know he was here.
Yeah.
Was at the residence.
Thursday.
On
Do you want to
Thursday.
give me your trap roll as well? Just before we go?
Absolutely. Could someone please reach over and here's the dice? Oh, no, we've got those. That'll work fine. My pretty pink ones.
I'm so sorry. 84.
84. What are you doing?
87.
Oh, no. 87?
Yeah.
87.
Worse.
Now, is there any loose grates that I could go snooping around for a push roll?
Yeah, definitely. The main concern is that there are people around. There's a reasonably, sizable crowd. This is New York in the middle of the day. I'm walking back and forth. A lot of people looking for jobs and things. Basically speaking to those around you, you would have to actually begin to clamber up portions of the building, looking in things. Not only do you risk falling, you also risk drawing attention to yourself in your compatriots' investigation.
I'm really determined to get this fascination of Mr. Van der Vance done as quickly as possible because it's actually quite dangerous and I don't want him to stick to it. So I'd like to push that roll
Go
if
for it.
possible.
Roll again, please. Ooh,
Look,
we lost
off
it.
the
sorry.
thing.
Does it still count?
No, I think it's got to be in the thing to count.
49 would be a pass.
Well, it counts, right?
It didn't.
Do you guys make the roll?
It didn't go off the table.
It
We just
was
gotta
on
have
the table.
consistent rolls, so we're
I
doing.
think it rolled. I think it's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
we're going with it.
that's
Okay.
what we're doing
Especially
then.
if we've got this quite far away. I think this will happen
I
a
agree.
lot.
I agree. Alright, so having a look around the area, able to clamber up, cast your eyes on windows, you check a couple of the latches, they keep them locked. and there are actually shutters which can be pulled down at night. You move some of the shutters and pulling them down. Look at it. There seems to be no signs of tampering. As you land back down on the ground and look at it, it's hard to get any footprints or anything because there's a lot of passage back and forth. But the doors show no signs of forced entry. You do not believe there was any break-in.
Okay.
Or any person that tried to get in here that wasn't supposed to.
All right.
If they were
Excellent.
brought in, they were brought in willingly and by its own.
Thank you.
Like vampires.
What?
But
So, rallying back, do we have any? I mean, I'll stand by you, waiting for you to give your report about the.
Oh, yes,
I'm
Right.
still so
examination.
closely
Sorry.
examining. Well, I just went for the most interesting thing in the room, and I imagine that was the medical equipment.
Yeah, definitely. It's big, it's shiny, and it's pretty novel. Yeah, go for it.
It's a medicine roll
advanced.
with advantage.
Yeah.
My medicine's 1. Can I take this well hidden without? Or-
I don't think that would apply to. I mean, you're looking over it. You don't understand how this equipment works. You don't know what you would be looking at unless you have the contest for it. Otherwise, do you have first aid? Oh no, that doesn't really apply. It's
no,
medicine. I think it's medicine. Sorry.
Well then, by all means, what's my other dice as well? But, oh well. Wow, 42 or a 52.
Would you like to spend either 41 points of luck or push the roll by getting in the seat?
Why isn't any metal coming out of this drill?
Can you tempt me?
Yeah, I think it would be you getting in the seat and just beginning to turn on equipment.
No, if you think I
Jackson.
can,
Remember,
Jackson.
you cannot luck a
Van de
push
Van.
roll.
that's fine. If you think I can,
I would like to talk to Jackson for a second,
I can have-
not Van de Ven.
yeah.
I think this is a bad idea. Continue.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted 100. That's better than
Yeah,
nothing.
200.
Uh,
You're rolling with advantage.
I mean, okay, yeah.
Well, no, because
You have
my
to
bonus
learn-
die gets me an extra 10s. So it doesn't really help.
correct. You are right.
Well, 13 is pretty damn good. But believe it or not,
Unfortunately.
does not reach my medicine score.
Alright, unfortunately,
1.
as you
You
come
wanna burn
back in
12
the room
luck?
to explain,
12 luck!
you can't.
Oh, you can't
luck
luck
the
the
first
first roll.
So as Jose, as you come back in the room, having searched the outside, you left him inside a locked office with your friends. You find him in the chair, slowly pulling a dental large drill, which is whirring towards his own face. What do you yell at?
You just sort of scream in panic and rush towards him and try and wrestle the drill away from him.
Can I make a fighting brawl check to try and grab it before this can do any serious damage?
Please.
I like to imagine that Edie and I are watching this
10.
whole thing.
Ten? That's a hard
I
success.
am
Right,
letting
yeah.
this happen.
No, that's
I
an
have
extreme
nothing but
success.
contempt
Alright, yeah,
for
you're
this
able
man.
to charge across and grab it, wrenching it out of Van de Ven's hands just before you're about to slip and pierce through gum and possibly severely damage your very expensive teeth.
That's right, yeah.
I mean, these are pristine pearly whites.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're able to pull it back.
And I replace it quickly and
Castillo, that was a vital clue.
I'm sorry. Please continue your examination, sir.
Thank you. Yes, it certainly
letting-
works. Everything seems to be in order over here. What have you found?
Did we see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did I actually break it? Or?
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
not broken. Yeah,
Alright.
they just saw you sort of moving it closer in an attempt to work it. Yeah.
He was certainly a dentist.
Very good.
Cool.
Listen, we found some things. Outside, there's no sign of a break-in.
Yeah, I don't think anything
Curious.
went wrong here. Apart from this pamphlet, we got a name, and while I agree with your perception about the, I think ultimately let's keep our options open. You don't close off anything because then you start looking for clues to make an idea make sense rather than just analyzing the evidence as it comes.
That's what your training suggests, and we should
you just-
continue with that practice.
I think regardless of which
False
path we
positives.
go down, what was his last name?
Ferdinandagus?
No, this one.
Sterling?
Sterling spent a lot of money on whatever endeavor he was undertaking. We are talking enough to, pay down a mortgage and enough to buy a house in the suburbs,
Maybe
And-
there's an accounting financial trail we can follow there.
potentially. They did keep a lot of records. Is there any indication where the money was going, or is it just withdrawals?
It was savings. They were concerned that, if things took a turn for the worse, they'd need to live off them for a while.
But like he was taking it out of the bank. There's no indication of where it was going.
No. Melody will say, when I spoke to the bank teller, they advised me that it had all been withdrawn. I can give you the address of the bank and you can try and speak with someone. I'm afraid you won't have any progress, but I'm happy to vouch and say that it's necessary.
I mean, the bank teller isn't going to be able to tell us where the money was given if it was withdrawn in cash. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if that was paid to Argus, we'll have to find out from him or his abode.
The second thing is that Sterling was canceling appointments around the same time as league meetings were occurring, and also Argus, did I get that right? And around the same times that he would have been meeting Argus. So he was clearly jeopardizing this dentist business that he was running.
I just don't know whether these things are connected or not. Do you think Argus has any connection to the organization?
I mean, we could find out.
Yeah, let's go. I think
Argus should be our next point of call, but I think that Mr. Van der Ven is saying an accounting trail. This might be something.
Yeah, well, if he was spending a lot of money on something, then that's worth following up.
Well, it's just that there is...
If it was just cash and there's no receipts, that does make it run a little cold.
I think potentially he would have been just paying in cash. That's what I would do if I wanted to undertake some illicit activities. Not that I've done that.
Yeah.
There's one last point. Has anyone checked his personal effects? If he was going on a camping trip, then it's possible that by that logic, heavy raincoats, boots, all of that should be gone.
You can tell us if we see what he packed, then we'll know where he
I
went.
suspect she would know.
You're welcome to check. Yes, he packed a case. It has a chain of clothes, some heavier boots. He was, like I said, not a camper previously, so it's likely if he was spending any extended time in the woods, he would need to purchase things, which he certainly could have. He packed enough to leave for a weekend.
Okay.
A few chains of clothes, maybe a little longer.
So maybe he was going somewhere.
But he wasn't planning on staying that long.
He also didn't take the car. We only have the one. He wouldn't have gotten far unless that's someone to travel with.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. We should probably be on our way to.
Sorry, just what are you thinking? I know this is early. I understand. I understand. I don't understand how these things work. Do you have any leads? Do you have an estimate? Do you know when he might be found, or when?
Miss Sterling, we have several leads at the moment, but in the interests of keeping things, the evidence secure and untainted, we can't really share that knowledge with you. We have to keep that to ourselves. You can understand why.
Can you give a persuasion check? Is this kind of just to keep her in the dark?
Yeah,
because I think she'd be pretty eager to know what's happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's your persuasion? It's 25 over...
25 is my success too.
Nice. Alright, you're able to basically persuade her that, this is in the best interest, and she says, of course, I understand. Please, I just ask that as soon as you know anything concrete, you'd let me know.
Absolutely.
If it's something odd, let me know sooner. I want to be prepared.
Something odd.
Well, we run in certain circles. He was chasing down certain things. I believe there is more to this world than religion or science can explain, as I'm sure do all of you, but Brendan was more... I can be a bit slow to believe in something. I think there needs to be a burden of proof. Brendan casts himself into things wholeheartedly.
Is there any reason he may have been so invested in this Atlantean heritage that he may have had?
I mean, that's the nature of the organization to some degree. This could have proven that it was real. I admit I was pulled along for a while as well until I realized that the man is... Well, I don't believe he holds any power whatsoever. Yes, this would have given vindication to the organization. He would have been the one that brought it. This would have surely spelt his rising through the ranks and possibly a second heyday for
Did
Atlas.
Brandon know Lincoln Crane very well? Were they known to each other?
Not
This man?
closely. They, Lincoln was who brought Brendan and I in originally. We have met with him previously, and Brendan and I were always intrigued by his belief in Atlantis and his faith that it was out there. We have had dinners in the past where Lincoln spoke of plans to journey forth. He was old enough that I think we were more just playing along than anything concrete, but I'll admit it's a pleasant fantasy. If we were to find something, it would revolutionize the world as we know it. They were friends. They were friends.
Okay. It's just that this man, Lincoln Crane, seemed unhappy that Atlas had drifted away from its roots of looking for Atlantean survivors.
I don't know. I presume it's true in a way. Atlas is no longer the Atlas that he formed. It's now more of a social club. It's an area for people to meet and talk. Most people there are just doing business deals rather than looking into the occult, let alone Atlantean heritage.
Okay. Well, they weren't particularly close, so it's not really a strong motive.
I suspect we'll learn more when we get to August. I think it's time.
Mrs. Sterling, you have our word that we will find your husband.
We will do our best to find your husband.
Yes, we will find your husband.
Thank you, Mr. Van de Ven. I knew I could count on you and your colleagues.
You can.
Mr. Van de Ven is the best. He always succeeds.
I know. I've read the papers. Thank you, Mr. Van de Ven, for taking an interest in my problems. She says, "Well, she says, thank you. And if you have anything more, please, I'll be here. I imagine I would have wanted to talk."
My card. If you think of anything.
She'll actually show you a dentist one as well, so you can call back to here if you want to.
Phones! What a time to be alive.
What a thing. Alright, the day is yours. Still pretty early. It's only probably like 11 or so.
We had to rush over here. Oh, sorry, I interrupted you.
I was going to say, do we have time to try and seek out Ferdinand? Because the League meeting isn't until the evening.
I suspect that Ferdinand is part of the League.
Well, there's no harm going to see him beforehand. Also, we should...
We don't have an address. We don't have any information about Ferdinand.
Does anyone have
Oh, sorry, not Ferdinand. I'm thinking of the other one.
Leopold.
Leopold, sorry.
I think Leopold is part of the League too, and I'm talking about Argus, Ferdinand Argus.
Yeah, sorry, Argus.
Yes.
Sorry, I keep calling him Argus as opposed to Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Argus.
That's just
I
cross
totally
wires.
understand. But I think Argus should be our
Yeah,
next
Argus
call.
is our next call.
We should stop for food first, because I forced Mr. Van de Ven right over here, because he didn't quite leave enough time.
Quite the taskmaster over here.
If we must.
Hot dogs
Well,
from the street? Is
apparently
it
there's
just
a
a
lovely
thing?
cafe just over the
Oh,
way.
right.
I don't think we have time for that. Let's just
We
get
should
someone
keep
to
we
work.
should keep our strength up.
The
It's
meeting
important
is
that
for
Mr.
a
Van de
few
Ven is.
hours.
Yeah, but we gotta go talk to Argus.
We'll get a venti and a bagel, and we'll do really good.
It'd be my treat, detective.
Yeah, but okay, if you insist. I usually used to working these in groups.
Sorry, could you just quickly, does anyone have navigate as a skill?
No, I do not.
I thought I did, but I don't. Oh, I have 25, yeah.
I was gonna,
Oh, yeah.
also, it's first session of how you guys would juggle points if you find something that you should have had points in. Do you want to give a navigation check? That would be how quickly, what's the time frame we're talking getting to these places, how much time should we allow? We're going to make a navigation check.
Nah,
No,
I failed.
alright. We're talking probably, you think ballpark, an hour to 2 to get to Argus's and back. And we're talking 3 or 4 to get to the other one. There's a chance you're not doing.
Oh, remember how the League was quite far away? It's in Brooklyn, like Brooklyn.
And you'll definitely need a car to do that. Or I guess you take a train.
Well, we have a car.
A red one.
Okay, why don't
I
we
still
get
think it's worth doing Argus first.
why don't we get a bagel to go and a venti in a?
To go
Do they have those? They're relatively recent invention.
Don't see why not.
We'll take the mug with us, and then we'll return it later, so we don't throw out.
Well, you know.
Generate waste.
Can we can't
Oh, you know, people who didn't get breakfast this morning can suck it up. I don't know. Yeah, it's.
we gotta keep our strength up. Come on.
Are you a particularly lanky man, or are you round in shape?
Well, my size is 55, so pretty average, I guess. Stocky is my
Stocky.
description. Yes.
Okay.
Appearance 85. I don't know if that's
I have a theory of how Mr. Van der Van could help us talk to Argus.
Yeah.
But it's a long plan. And it best be discussed over some breakfast.
Coffee it is.
All right.
And you're sort of still protesting and trying to think about things
As we're walking
William's
into, like,
power
a
is across,
chaos.
and you realize just the gravity of William's charisma has swept you across the street into a small cafe, which is currently seeing a lot of people beginning to move in to get early lunches. A lot of people do take away sandwiches and things, and to return to either jobs if they have them or seeking jobs if they don't. It's pretty cheap. This is probably several steps below what your normal fare is, but it's
quaint.
Sort of to-go stuff, coffees, sandwiches. You're able to finally get to the front of the counter. Someone will ask you, what do you want?
Oh, let's see. We've got 4 coffees. What does everyone have?
Coffee?
Coffee.
Yeah.
I have it with.
Something to eat?
Oh yeah, I'll have a bagel with salmon.
Yeah.
Salmon bagel.
Whatever you're having, sir.
Oh, stop, Nick.
No, I don't know.
A little bit bagel.
No, I
Just a
don't
little
know.
bagel.
He'll have whatever.
Fine,
It's not
just
gonna fill you
coffee's
up.
fine,
You just take a bagel, I'll eat it if you don't want it.
That
Fine.
sounds great. Let's have 4
Salmon.
salmon bagels.
Nice, salmon bagels.
We'll have the table near the window, and if you bring the wine list, or is it a bit too early?
We don't have a wine list, sir. These are just the coffees. There's sugar and milk at the front, and she sort of slams a bell with dings, and she will proffer you for money, and then you can.
Oh,
place,
yes, that's fine. How much do you tip? $15? That sounds like enough.
She sort of, and she goes out. There's a wine. She sort of elbows on the other. She goes, there's a wine store not far down the road. We can get you something if you're interested.
Oh, no trouble. I think we better stay on the job for now, but thank you for the offer.
Not a problem, Mr.
William Van der Ven of the Van der Ven Shipping Conglomerate. My card.
She begins. She says, "Well, Mr. Batman, we're actually not too far from your towers if you're ever in the neighborhood, and coffees and things. We do host functions.
Oh, really?
Or we can feed functions." And she seems to be quite you to push something. Eventually, you guys are put at a small table at the window. The glass takes one side, so 2 people are crowded around one of the edges. There's a clearly fake flour in the center, 4 cups of coffee, and 3 eaten bagels and 1 untouched.
While we're eating through,
You have the map on the center.
Yes, I'll share an idea. So, when Melody went to talk to Argus, it sounds like she was soundly rebuffed. And if we appear at the doorstep asking questions about the disappearance of Brendan, if he does have something to do with it, which it seems like he might be quite hostile towards telling us, and if he doesn't, he still might be quite hostile. But it seems like this man Argus really preys upon people who are rich and who don't perhaps have all their common sense. Unfortunately, we don't
Who
have
do we
anyone
know
like
like that?
Well,
Yeah.
no one. But I'm sure that Mr. Van der Van could imitate someone.
Oh, well, you're taking me back to my acting days. When I tread the boards those many years ago, yes, I think I could summon some amount of thespianism.
It's not I gotta say, it's not a terrible idea, Jose. You got a good head on your shoulders, kid.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I think if you can go in through the front way, you're his bodyguard, or his butler, or whatever your relationship is, I don't know. The 2 of you appearing together would not be unreasonable. I could then sneak in the back or some way and take a look around in maybe a more subtle approach, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah.
It sounds like there's also someone else who works there, a boy at the front. I don't want to leave Mr. Van der Van alone with that man, but maybe, Edie, maybe you could, if you could just engage him in conversation, just make sure he can't go and interrupt Nick while Nick's working.
Yeah.
Sure.
You could, how sneaky are you? Can you?
I am.
Because you could come with me.
Look, I am fairly. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I am fairly small, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I am of the graceful type. so I don't know how sneaky I am. Really, oh, that's right. We have a skill called stealth. I am not very stealthy, no.
Okay. Then why don't
Just
you
like-
go in with these gentlemen? You guys can all go in together and then decide where you're gonna go there. I'll head around the back way and maybe
Can you
tiptoe a
keep
little bit.
quiet?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at keeping quiet. I
Okay.
can keep quiet and I can look for stuff and
Okay.
Right. But I will be relying on you to quiz him and tell me what he's like. Really get in his head. I trust you with that.
Excellent. So, sounds like we have a plan.
Yep. So by 11:45, you're back out into the
Quarter
the
to 12.
car.
Oh God.
It's over. You're in the car and beginning to rumble along. 4 people in the back is probably the upper capacity for this automobile. You're kind of special because 3 of them are on one seat, and William's on the other one.
Oh, he's a man spreader. You know what he is.
Real.
Is there not a front seat, like next to the driver?
There is, yeah. If someone wants to go in the front, yeah, that works.
Does it involve not sitting with Mr. Van der Van?
It does.
I think. Wait, you want to shoot
No,
for it?
I was gonna say like you would probably.
Oh, okay,
you
yeah,
go.
I want the front seat.
Okay, so you get in the front, and then the 2 of you are facing backwards, looking at William. You begin to cruise through the streets of New York, heading over the bridge and up towards the northern section where Argus's office should be. So it takes you about midday traffic and stuff for about 45 minutes. Actually, not too bad. So you're there at 12:30. As you pull in, you see this is it's like a personal home. This isn't an office. It's a small area, and these are like suburbs. Everywhere has little like grass around the edge, a couple of trees plotted around. You're actually in a cul-de-sac with a bunch of family homes spread around of people. Midday on a Thursday, I guess some of the kids are playing, people are working, so it's kind of not super busy at the moment. Car pulls in. It is easily the nicest one on the block, although this is not a poor neighborhood. And as you get out, you can see the residence is a 2-story, it's a reasonably modest house. Towards the back, there is a shed and a greenhouse. And you can immediately see that 1, there is another car parked out the front, and 2, towards the back, pottering from the shed towards the greenhouse, is a large, fat man wearing overalls that sort of squeeze his jowls together and carrying like a gardening spade or something. He's a gardener. What do you guys want to do? Oh, hey, what's the New York Police Department's stance on breaking and entering?
It's fine when we do it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. No, you just really quietly go, we have a permit. If you object, do not let us in. Just break the door.
Yeah, I think without a warrant, it's probably not super, but
You're willing to...
if we don't get caught.
Okay, cool. We found where Nick stands. Good. Okay, alright. 3 of you are planning to go around the front and Nick sneak in the
The
back.
problem is this isn't an official investigation, so officially I'm not a police officer. That's how it works.
You're just a criminal.
I'm just a do-good at looking out for the community.
Now you're a mystic criminal.
Well, look, if there's something about if there's reasonable, if I have reasonable suspicion that there is a crime being committed currently inside,
Do you?
then I can. Well, we'll have to find out. Otherwise, I'm just walking around his house. That's fine. It's legal.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, alright. I get it.
But if I hear like a glass break inside, I could be like, "Oh, someone might be hurt. I gotta go in there."
So, as a like, cue to you guys to go in and break a glass
You
or something and
know
start
that
screaming.
if we're in there for more than 10 minutes, it's likely that Mr. Van der Van is boring someone to death.
Yeah. Don't I know it?
Alright, so you're going to circle around outside, and are you avoiding the gardener, or are you going to try and talk to him?
I'm gonna avoid him at first.
Okay, go for it. Alright, can I get a stealth check from you as the 3 of you go in the front door?
Yes.
Could I get that dice tray?
The Dice Toure.
You can use whichever dice you would like.
What's
This
your
would
stealth
be
score?
bad if
My
just
stealth score is 50.
31.
31.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is a pass.
You begin to slide around the front, and you see the greenhouse is closed. You can see a faint shadow inside where it's sort of like lightly frosted glass or whatever. I don't think that's stamped actually. It's clear, but there's plants on the outside. You can see a shadow of someone moving in. They haven't noticed you.
Oh, someone's inside, and
Yeah,
it's
the
not the
gardener's.
guy. Oh, the gardener's already
gardener's
moved in there.
It's just the
Okay.
gardener. Walking around the outside, you can see there are a few windows and different. You look in on a parlor first. Then there's a study. Then there is a door at the back which would lead into the kitchen. As you try it is locked. So we'll leave you there for the moment as the 3 of you are on the front. As soon as you head up to the front, there is a brass knocker in the center and a doorbell which can be rung.
Should I use my real name or assume a character?
Oh. Well, I think that your real name carries so much weight, Mr. Van der Van, and you are a character.
Oh, thank you. But for this, I'll take your advice. I'll adapt the persona of some air-headed rich fool who wants to throw his money away. Delightful.
I guess there's not too much blue sky between you and Mr. William Van Der Raan.
Oh, yeah, that's the ticket. All right, I ring the doorbell.
Alright, you push the doorbell, and there's a moment, and then you hear footsteps walking across the door, and it clicks open. No latch is slid, it was unlocked. And as it opens, you see a young man, probably late 20s, with a pair of silver round glasses, blonde hair, which is neatly kept, and a sort of suit tie, very professional. He opens the door and he says, good morning. Please come inside if you'd like to make an appointment or something.
Oh, thank you, yes.
As you walk in, he gestures, and you're in like a foyer. There's a couple of small chairs and a receptionist desk inside. He says, I'll be with you in just a moment. He steps around, he sits himself back down, tidies a couple of things, straightens a pencil, and then says, I am Percy Langhorn. I am Mr. Argus's assistant. To whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
William Van Der Van, heir to the Van Der Van shipping conglomerate. Very wealthy, you know.
He nods. He doesn't seem particularly shaken by your presence just yet. He says, yes, excellent. Are you here to inquire about a booking?
Yes.
He says, right, well, and he pulls out a large tome, which he flips open and then finds a date and says, well, Mr. Argus is away for the foreseeable future, but I can begin slotting you in July.
Well, that simply won't do.
Where is he? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm afraid I do. I can't discuss my boss's personal affairs.
Well, Mr. Van Der Van doesn't wait. He doesn't wait for things. Places that keep him waiting. Well, there are reviews that appear in all the major magazines a few days later, revealing that they were not places that he wanted to visit anyway, so he wasn't kept waiting.
Quite right, Gomez, my Guatemalan bodyguard.
Can you make a intimidation check? It's going to be hard.
Sure.
And also tricky. I'll frisbee you this.
Oh,
Oh my god!
Last time we do that
Lost
technique.
my fucking
I
eye!
completely disagree. That is the first of many times I do that. So next time I'm hitting Rachel.
Hey Rachel, can you pass David that wrench? Here's some dice.
I have a wrench.
Let's get the dice tray.
For mechanics.
What? Sorry, I'm really busy with my wrench.
Thank you.
I really like the wrench. It's as big as my head.
That is an
I'll hold
83
it close.
intimidation.
83.
I'm sorry to say.
You need to stop
because I
rolling
rolled
the
it.
80s.
Yeah.
He sort of stiffs and says, he says, Mr. Argus is a rather private person, and most of the people who come here are sent by recommendation. We don't grace the pages of many published papers. I don't think that would be too concerning.
Well, as it happens, I have a recommendation from my very good friend here. In fact, he happens to be an ex-president. So I slide him a crisp $50 bill.
I love this because you're bribing him
That's
despite the fact that the dude's not here.
There's going to be some way
No, I think
that you
that's great.
can get in touch and tell him.
Can you push the roll with charm, I think, and still hard? So if
can.
you roll again, just push consequences, you are overstaying your roll.
As it happens, I have what's it called? A
Feature.
pulp talent
Talent.
of being a smooth talker,
Ooh, what
which
does
gets
that
me
do?
a bonus die on all my charm rolls.
Nice.
Excellent.
That's pretty good.
You're telling me I got to roll a hard?
That's
Is that
right.
right? All right.
Right, you have 2 dice to do it.
I do.
What are you trying to roll under for a hard?
We're talking 42.
42?
It's not bad.
It's pretty good with both.
Oh, that's a 9.
Roll the dice.
Oh, that's a 54.
So you
It's a
get
regular
spend
success, and you're telling
12
me.
points of luck.
I guess I will.
Alright, okay.
Yeah.
Alright. The 50 is placed on the table and slid across. He does this very dismissive look at it as if I couldn't possibly be tempted. And then you see, as you sort of look back up to eye contact and look at it, he's slid it down the table and away. And he says, look, as I said, unfortunately, Mr. Argus's accounts are booked through to July, but I'm sure we can try and find some way to make sure that all parties are happy. How can I help?
Well, you could get him on the phone, I'm sure, or tell us where he is currently, and we can meet him. At
I'm
his
afraid I
current
couldn't get him on the phone. He's away. I believe somewhere out of phone access. I'm sorry, I don't know where he is. And you believe him to be genuine. But I know that he was out of contact until July. I am just stalling bookings. If you like, I can try and dig through some of his papers and see if there were any other accounts that weren't shared with me. I can have a look in the study.
Yeah, I suppose that'd be fine. And any way you can figure out where he's gone, that would give us a big help.
When was the last time you saw your employer?
I came in on Friday, and there was a note explaining the situation.
What did the note say?
I will be gone till July.
It's quite a lacking explanation.
So Friday the 6th of May.
He flicks back and says, yes, that's correct.
Are you concerned? Is this behavior regular for your
Wait, I
employer?
wrote the wrong date.
No,
Sorry.
no, Thursday. It's Thursday when you were missing.
Yeah. So he was last seen Thursday night. Friday morning, Argus vanishes.
He says, no, this isn't, he's never just left before, but he is a man who carries himself with a certain unique direction.
Now that I can understand.
He seems to be finding the polite way to say he's a bit odd.
And forgive me, he left a note. You were able to authenticate that? Are you an expert in handwriting?
No, but I don't understand why anyone else would try to.
Do you have some of his writings here? I mean, we could just compare it to handwriting.
I do. Listen, you forgive me. What is the nature of your questioning? I understand you're trying to make an appointment, but you won't be back until July.
Well, we wanted to see him, and
We were recommended this place. Mr. Vandervan was recommended this place by a mutual acquaintance. I don't know if you know of Brendan Sterling, if he was a...
I've met with Brendan. Yes, he's come several times.
Well, we were just curious. We had heard that Brendan had also gone sort of, off the radar.
Perhaps
Maybe.
they are traveling together. They seem to get on quite well and only growing closer with every meeting.
Well,
Shut up.
well,
Off the radio.
well. Listen, that be that as it may, I'm sure all things are wonderful, but Brendan's wife Melody has contacted the police.
Yes. To what extent? He's missing?
Well, I'm not a policeman. I don't know the full details, but it appears that things are becoming rather serious rather quickly.
Well, he says, well, I'd love to help the police, but I don't see anyone here. And as we do that, we'll cut to you, sneaking round the back.
I'm a policeman.
I just want to say quickly, when he said, "Shall I check the study?" I picked up on that. If he makes to go for the study, I'm going to try and stop him because the plan says that we know that there's a policeman at the back.
Yeah, unfortunately, before we cut away from me, we hit my biggest obstacle. A locked door.
Yes. There is a door that is locked.
I go up to the door. Alright, I turn around.
If you're going to go back, again, you pass a couple of windows.
Well, I want to make. You said there's a gardener in the shed, and sort of there's a greenhouse. And
There is the gardener in the greenhouse, and there is a shed.
Oh, are these separate locations?
Correctamundo.
Oh, apologies. How well maintained is the garden?
Very.
So, as in, the gardener's doing a good job.
Yeah,
He is
around
clearly
the
a gardener.
The grass is mowed. Well, who knows if this guy's the one doing it, but someone here definitely cares about plants. The grass is green, cut short. There are small bushes planted around the outskirts of the home, partly to keep privacy. They sort of grow up a little bit around the windows. And the greenhouse itself is filled with these sort of brilliant yellow flowers that sort of populate the outside. Quite vibrant. There's a lot of them.
Not native, not natural.
I don't know, do you have botany?
No.
Yeah, no. Oh, do you have natural world?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
the base.
You don't know. They'll look fine.
That's fair enough. I'm happy not knowing. So the gardener's in the greenhouse. I want to go to the shed, which
Sure.
does not contain a gardener.
It does not, but it is across from it. You begin to move across.
It'll be a risk. Yeah,
Okay.
I understand.
You were pretty careful getting there, so you're not too concerned about it. As you cross, towards the area, you find the door is open. Checking inside, there are a number of different tools for gardening, and a lot of sort of like piles of fertilizer and things. Seems to be pretty consistent with a gardening shed.
Okay.
There's also no lock on it, so this probably couldn't even be locked. This is pretty safe neighborhood. It doesn't. There's not like a sign of paranoia either.
I have a hunch, and my hunches sometimes prove to be wrong. I want to look for a trapdoor.
Okay, make a spot hidden check.
Jackson, would you like to roll for me this time?
No, don't trust Jackson. He'll roll 80.
I think I will do it.
I
just
believe.
for posterity. No,
Just for. Oh, okay. In the interest.
sorry. 58.
58.
Was that a fail? Sorry.
No, that is a success. My spot hidden is 65.
Pretty good at this.
I'm very good at spotting hidden.
Okay. Looking through it, no, there is a trapdoor.
Damn,
although
my hunch.
Cool idea. But looking closer as you go through it, it is A, neat, B, fairly expensive. There's a lot of there's a lot of fertilizer. I don't know, this looks like something you might expect to find at someone whose career is botany. This dude is super into it.
Okay.
And so those plants are possibly either rare or super high maintenance or something. It seems a little above and beyond, you know?
Alright. In that case, having studied the shed, I would like to move towards the
You
greenhouse.
pull out the notebook and you go, shed.
Shed. I just tick the shed.
Yeah. Alright, you head towards the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Walking towards it, you're still being careful, and you get to the edge and you can look up into it. These yellow flowers, poppies really, are filling the inside space in long rows.
Are they all the same?
Yes, they're all the exact same plants.
Okay.
And the gardener that you can see them now is very careful. He's in between two of them. He's got a little trowel. He's sort of moving one to another area where it can, it's a small one. It's like, this one needs more space to survive. I don't know, planting things.
Can I roll a law roll to know if these plants are illegal? As in, are these marijuana
Is that
plants?
marijuana?
Or poppies, or something that would be
Yes. Yes, you
restricted and something that seems... Because to me, this seems like
Something illegal.
something illegal.
It's not super hidden. It's visible from the street, and it's in a greenhouse.
Yeah.
But yeah,
okay.
no, go for it. Make a law check. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Sorry, Rachel.
No worries. Let me just quickly.
My law is 35. Hard or the very hard or the extreme?
So half.
17.
Hell yeah.
I got
Exactly what I rolled.
I got
So you
exactly
rolled?
a
Ah, shit,
17.
alright.
I think what I get from this is no, they're not illegal.
No, they're not illegal, but you are... The nature of just growing a shitload of something, they are being done. This is not... And they're not in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
These are not being grown for decorative purposes. They are doing something with them. But they're not illegal. This is not in the handbook of, the 8 plants that are used to make opium, this, that, and the other.
Okay, in that case, I would like to open the greenhouse door and go do a sort of huddly ho, neighborino. Or knock on the door.
Yeah.
As I'm entering the
Hello,
Hello,
as you already
neighbor.
put yourself in. Yeah, great.
how you doing?
The gardener doesn't start or anything, but you did come out of sort of a hidden position. And as he looks around at you, he's got thick set brows that land in a sort of a permanent glower. And he looks at you and he says, what are you doing here?
Hey, I'm Tim. I live 6 houses down that way. How you doing? It's good to meet. How you doing? Hold out my hand.
He seems to ignore it. He looks at you and goes, you can't be in here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw you back here, and I saw such well-maintained garden.
This isn't my house, but it's private property. You need to leave.
Oh, apologies. I ain't mean to step on no toes. I was just wondering, do you have any can I hire you? You for hire? Can I my place is it's like a mess up there, I got roots, I got tangles, I got trees. Look, it's a lot of work, but looking at this place, man, you must know what you're doing.
This guy's very angry and not forthcoming. Do you want to give me I can fast talk?
Yep.
probably the most suitable.
Shoot.
Or you could go...
Not a persuade? No,
It's
I
not
think
really
I
logic.
do agree. I do think this is a fast
Yeah,
talk.
because you're
and-
trying to basically circle this round.
5%. Yay.
You can share what points it if you want. You move from one of the other ones. You could go charm, but I think I would make it extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is cold opening someone who does not want to talk to you.
Yeah,
and lying.
I agree that it's fast talk. I guess I just have to roll
Yeah,
that.
I guess
let's have a look and hope.
Sometimes things happen.
Sometimes you
That's
just
right.
have to roll.
Alright,
and hope.
5% chance.
I would also like to do a psychology check on him as
Yep,
well
sure.
at some point.
26.
26?
21 points of luck.
21 points of luck is a lot.
It's pulp. We regenerate luck more quickly.
I know. I was thinking. I don't think we regenerate at 21 degrees more
I
quickly.
don't think you do.
I believe it's 2d10 or something.
You
like
rolled. You try to roll over your current luck. If you succeed, it's 2d10 plus 10. If you
So-
fail, it's 1d10.
Oh,
It is
that's
actually
not-
a lot.
that. So you could regenerate up to 20, which means you could lose. Oh,
if
yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
plus 10, you get up to 30.
Oh my god,
It's there
yes.
to be spent. Yeah, Jamie, this is pulp. It's there to be spent. If you want to do so.
I think I might.
Yeah, go for it.
21 points of... So I go from 70 to 49.
That was quick. Yep.
Um,
Alright, 49 points of luck spent. Sorry, 21.
I mean, all he's going to do is believe me. I don't
Yeah.
think he's going to want to be higher.
He is kind of bowled over as a couple, as you speak quickly. What he says, he goes, not for hire. I'm paid well here, and I have regular work.
Oh, what are these lovely flowers, though? I wouldn't mind a few of them in my garden.
He goes, yeah, I bet you would. I don't know the nature, but they're brought in from somewhere else. They're rare imports. Only grow here and only under my tender touch.
Oh. What? Imported from where? Can you...
Don't know. Sorry.
Oh, Can I do a psych check on him to... I guess just determine... Like, he's cagey. Is he cagey? He's clearly hiding these flowers, I guess. I don't really know what I'm going to get out of this.
May as well.
Go ahead. Let me
It's just
see.
I can also just be getting a general read on him. That's fine.
Nope.
85.
Nope.
Yeah, he's hard to read, and he's also pretty. He does seem to be proud of the plants, but he also doesn't want your job. And he kind of, if this is private property, you just let yourself on. He's clearly like, you need to get out.
Okay.
So he's gonna push you
Look,
towards the street.
I don't want to be in your hair. Look, do you have a card or something? A business card? Oh, you're not for hire. You already established that. All right. Look, it's a pleasure seeing you. All right. Clearly, you got stuff to do here. I'll head out.
He doesn't respond anymore. He watches you head back towards the street.
Okay. Now, the back door's locked anyway, so I just head out towards the street until I'm out of view from him.
Yeah. He's
Then I think I might just wait. I don't know.
so you
I'm
head towards the car?
gonna give it a hot second and think about what I'm gonna
Give
do
it a beat or
next.
two. Alright, so you're heading out. The three of you guys inside, what are you pursuing for the opposing? He seems to be, he's trying to help. He says, I can look in the study for anything
Yeah,
further.
let's see if we can figure out what his movements were here.
Before you look in the study, what about the note? You said you had. Do you still have the note?
Again, it's, yes, I can give it to you. He produces it, he flips through his own journal and finds it. And he passes it across. It just says, I'll be out of town until mid-July. I will not be within contact. Continue work and delay all appointments. Signed, Ferdinand Otis.
Do you have any other samples of his handwriting?
There are his personal journals, but I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to show those to you.
Is that his signature,
It
as
is.
far as you can tell?
It is. I'm not a whatever you said, but yes, it appears to be.
There wouldn't be anyone that would have any problems with Mr. August that would want to, at worst, kidnap him.
He can be confrontational. He is expensive, and there are some that we're not satisfied with his methods. But no, I think attempted kidnapping or successful kidnapping is much beyond the scope of any transgressions.
What?
I-
Oh, sorry.
I just want to say I think we may be grasping at straws a little bit that
Why July? What's happening in July?
I don't know. He's returning. It's a month enough that he could have travelled far enough away if he wants to really get away from the city. I don't know.
Is that a particularly important date for your business, or the time July, summer?
I've only worked here for a year or so. We have steady customers. We don't have many, but we have regulars.
Okay. Not too well. I don't know what else to ask.
he went missing the same time as Brendan. It's clear they probably went somewhere together.
Did he take anything with him?
Camping
I don't-
gear.
I haven't looked in his. I don't
We
know
need to
his
look in
private-
there. Let's just get in there and see what we turn up.
Oh no, actually, I'll have a look around. If you could stay here, please. I'll return in just a moment.
We can do that. That's totally fine.
And he's going to step towards the study.
Once he steps towards it, I'll yell loudly after him. If you find any other ones of his writings with the idea that I'm trying to alert.
If the police are sneaking in the window.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to alert. I mean, the policeman is
Take
not
all
there.
the time you
but-
want in that
But-
back room.
But the plan, he says, right, and then he heads inside, and after a moment or two, he doesn't return.
Can I do something retroactively? I know that's kind of frowned upon sometimes.
Possibly. Let's come to you in a moment. I just want to know what these guys do
let's
first.
Sorry, apologies.
That's all right.
Yeah, it's been about how long?
I don't know, a couple minutes.
If it gets to more than 2 minutes, I'm gonna go stay here, and I'm gonna dart after. I think he might be trying to do a runner.
Okay. You dart into the room. Heading into the study, you can see there's a sort of desk and a bookshelf and things, and there's no sign of the young man in the room.
Track roll.
Okay, make a track roll.
Ooh,
Please.
good call.
Rolls you
Already dropping dice.
pedal into the room and begin to look for any signs of his passage.
I can't read that.
That's an 08.
Oh wait!
Extreme success.
All right. You head towards you look towards the window. It doesn't look like you did it. But you can see a scuff in the carpet right in front of the desk.
Trapdoors.
Yeah. My hunch! It was only off by a little bit.
Are you guys following, or are you staying out in the lobby?
I will leap to action. I'll yell, he ran! And I'll shove the desk away and try to rip at what I assume is a trapdoor
All right.
on the
So you're going
ground.
to go for the desk. What are the two of you doing?
I leap into action.
You're going into the
Yeah.
study as well.
I do the same thing. However, I briefly look around the office if there are any blunt objects.
Okay. So you're also going to the study.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. What are you doing? Are you in the office or are you outside the car when this happens?
Oh, well, I'm outside, but I can I make a listen check?
Yes. Make a listen check. Because you hear them yelling. And he goes trapdoor, and you're keyed in for trapdoors. That's your buzzword.
The other thing I just wanted to do, and you can feel free to say no to this, I wanted to see if I could sleight of hand pick one of the things on the
Good
way
idea.
out.
Make a sleight of hand check and then immediately make a listen check.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, you're in a discussion. Actually, let's not because I think
Because
that
there would be a
there would
negative
be- there is
impact
that
to
whole
it.
thing,
Yeah, I
you can
agree.
go back.
I have to go back though, and I think I may try on the way out. However, as I was heading back to the car, I heard trapdoor, so I'm gonna. All right,
Make a
maybe
listen check,
make a listen check. I'm pretty good listening. 60.
71.
Do you want to spend life? All right. So as you yell trapdoor, the detective, hearing his buzzword, comes careening into the corridor, and as you make a run towards the room where the study is, you pushing the desk, push it back, activating some sort of switch contained in the legs itself, but rather than a trapdoor swinging open, small vents slide away in the floor around you, and yellow gas begins to spill out into the study. And as you all collectively lose consciousness, a cat leaps down from one of the things above you, and you all begin to find your minds adrift until when you wake back up, you feel the four of you standing on some sort of rock that seems to be in orbit around a strange and distant planet. And that's probably where we're going to leave this session.
Sorry, what?
Would you like us to perform a single sanity check to close everything?
You're just gonna yeet us into Zen
Yes.
and close that shit there?
Yes,
Okay.
so next time we'll find out what the fuck happened and
I can't
why.
believe I spent that long trying to get in to be
Trap.
gas.
Yeah.
Welcome to
100%.
space.
David,
like-
you gave us a map of New York and you're telling
No,
us we're
take
in
that down. The
space?
space
Emphasis
map
on the trap.
Yeah, alright. Okay, well, thank you guys. That was a little wacky. That was fun.
What?
Alright, awesome. So, that was session 1 of what will be a few, who knows how many, of play, probably a couple months or so as we tear through this cool little book. We'll begin to find out what possibly happened to our missing person and what he got himself into.
I think we're all missing people now.
I know, as you
Oh,
hurtle through
wait,
the stars.
what color was the gas?
Yellow.
Interesting. Anyway.
Was it a mustard?
It was sort of, no, it was kind of sweet, but floral smell.
Yeah.
Probably so. So we will pick this up again next week with all the same people at the same time in the same place. In the meantime, this video will go up on the YouTube, I think on Friday. Is that right? Tim?
Friday, yes. But there are other exciting things.
That's right. Tomorrow morning, our time at like 6 in the morning Australia, but I think 7 p.m.
8 p.m. GMT.
8 p.m. GMT, which I think is what
For
time?
us,
What time is it in America?
in the US, I believe it is.
It's in the Twitch thing. below,
GMT
otherwise.
right now is 11:20.
Well, yeah, it's written down below.
Yeah, it's
you
written
can
down, like,
scroll
Hey,
down.
we've got Mike Mason's stream, which is going to be awesome. So he's running he's doing actually like a test scenario or something. So we unfortunately can't have all these sort of handouts and things because we can't have people looking to close at some of the content. So he'll be running through it with a really awesome cast. Tomorrow, what it is a sort of an insight as he sits down with each of the different players. It is pre-recorded, then that'll go on YouTube. But then starting the following week, that will be a regular game that happens alongside ours. So
This isn't the Mike Mason who's the creative director of Call of Cthulhu.
that's where I know that name.
And
Yes, it
Chaosium.
absolutely is.
The very same.
Exactly.
And he's testing material never before seen.
Correctamundo.
So it's
Wow.
like a global exclusive.
A stream of chaos
One
exclusive.
could say all of those things. One
Cool
should
beans.
have. So make sure you check that out. But otherwise, we will see you all soon. Thank you.
And